Welcome, everyone. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, thank you all for coming. I only have a few things to say. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Happy Hanukkah, whatever. I want to be politically correct, so that I can catch everybody. Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome. Any public comments? Moving on. Additions to the agenda. I have one because I have to say, I kind of forgot it. Cemeteries for an appointment to someone to their committee and rules and regulations. She also has her article, but that'll come up under articles. What's the board's pleasure, please?
So moved, if that's enough.
It is enough.
Okay.
It's been so moved and seconded that we place cemeteries, the appointment of a committee member and rules and regulations under departments and committees, I guess. So it would be number E, or letter E, please. All right, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, Mark? Welcome, thank you for coming.
My pleasure, good evening.
Good evening. Okay, we have some questions for you.
I am ready.
We're hoping that you can answer them.
Yes. I can answer every single question, I just don't know how useful the answer will be.
Yes, I understand that. I can pretty much do that too. I mean, you watched the video, you know. Okay,
Does
Josh?
anybody have the copy of the budget they presented us, the different
I-
step downs?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I can't find it. It's in there somewhere.
I know that feeling.
You know what? That's what I do every meeting. Shuffle, shuffle,
Yeah.
shuffle. Do you have it?
I just want to figure out which one you're looking
He wants the one where they presented their proposal.
I'll make it easy, but we'll have hard numbers to work with in a minute.
Okay.
I guess the biggest question is when Sheriff Clerk was in here, I don't know, a few weeks back, presented the proposed budget line items to us. We did a breakdown of the hourly cost
Yes.
of the Wyndham County Sheriff's Department. Based on our hourly cost, we compared it against Stratton, as far as the amount of hours they use and the amount that they're being charged per hour. They're getting charged about $30 an hour for their coverage, $60,000 based on 2,000 hours of coverage a year. If we break down our, she's bringing it over to me.
Thank you, Katrina. There's your notes.
Thank you, Katrina. Oh, perfect, you even have it written down, the best. If you break down our hourly cost at 100 hours a week, which is obviously a lot larger contract, it's almost $200,000 at a cost of about $37 an hour. So if we kept extrapolating that down and costs got higher and higher, we'd be somewhere around 50, 60 bucks an hour comparatively for the same coverage as Stratton.
So the problem is that the calculations you're using don't take into account several things. And to make a like comparison between the town of Stratton and the town of Vernon is where your assumption fails. One of the things on the we'll talk specifically about the 24-hour budget, since that's what we're currently doing.
Yep.
And it seems to be that that's how it's being applied to me, though correct me if I'm wrong. One of the things that we include under the 24-hour budget is built-in overtime. There's been several events here in town in which we need to bring in additional personnel, whether it's a motor vehicle crash that involves several officers, to investigate the crash to the severity of it. When we have to control a scene such as at a dead body until it can be released by the state's attorney in the medical examiner's office, we have to have additional personnel for that. We have to be able to seek search warrants, and so that brings in additional personnel. Town of Stratton, the contract that they have pays for one deputy. It's a service that's in addition to the coverage that they get from the Vermont State Police, but not in lieu of. And while we have access to those resources, we provide a greater service to the town of Vernon. Another issue that is also significantly different, for fiscal year 2015, the town of Stratton had a total of 111 calls for service. So that's for 40 hours of service. They had 111 hours or 111 calls for service. Town of Vernon for fiscal year 15 had 2,224. So there's a significant difference in work, and while those are hours being paid for, that's also time that we're generating that we're gonna be in court, which we don't bill separately. That's built into the rate. So in addition to overtime, call-outs, court hours, and other liabilities that we face just because of greater exposure to more risk, that's why there's a difference in cost.
Okay, so you're telling me that if we decided to go to the exact same coverage as Stratton, we would be charged the same hourly rate?
I'm not.
Okay.
But if that's something the town wants to consider, we could talk about that. We haven't prepared that because the town hasn't asked us to.
Yeah. I would like to see the comparison if, I mean, you guys don't provide any extra services to Stratton when you have, you know, your example of, you know, a dead body or crash scene, you don't send anybody extra, it's just your one deputy that may or may not be on call, and you have the state police take care of that then?
That does happen. There's arrangements that we have worked out with the state police, but it's also a conversation worth having with the state police.
Okay, so you don't send extra people like you do with Vernon?
Again, it depends.
Okay,
And we have a relationship with the state police, so we work that out ourselves.
alright,
But if that's something, I mean, if the town wants to consider utilizing the state police for various services, and I mean, that's certainly something that we're happy to do. If you say you don't want us investigating dead bodies, that's okay.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's just one more thing.
Okay. I guess it still doesn't make sense to me, but
That doesn't make sense.
how our hourly rate is so much larger. I understand the extra services, but I know you send extra people to Stratton when you have those such issues, you have to, you don't have an option of doing so. So the services is very comparable in that respect.
They're not.
Well, that's what you say, I can't agree with you.
Okay.
I mean, I can't imagine you just say, no, sorry guys, we only have a contract for one deputy, somebody got shot up there, call the state police. If you do that, that's fine, but I can't imagine you do that.
That's actually how it works based on our agreement with the state police and with the town of Stratton. They've asked us, and I'm not here to specifically talk about the town of Stratton's contract and what they want and don't want, because I'm not as familiar with it, but based on my understanding of it, if it's some major crime to that extent, they want to bring in the detectives from BCI, because that's 4 or 5 detectives you can bring in and investigate a homicide.
Okay.
And for us, it makes sense, because why would I wanna commit 500 man hours to an investigation? I mean, that'd be a quarter of their budget.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are benefits of utilizing state police coverage, but there's also other issues at stake, which if the town wants to start utilizing a more significant portion of the state police coverage, that's a conversation that would be good to have with the state police.
Yeah. So I guess I do wanna see the comparison. If the select board decides to, you know, budget the exact same amount of hours as Stratton for budget purposes, and obviously the town can do whatever they want come town meeting, I would like to see the comparison of what Vernon would get charged.
I can, as a rough number, I can say it would be approximately $70,000.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's my biggest issue is, you know, looking at the numbers, it's significantly different.
And that's where, I mean, we've said this in conversations with the board before.
Yep.
That's where negotiation of the contract comes down to play. We're currently contracting for primary police services. So we are the 911 responders, in Stratton, we are not. So that's another difference. So there's things where, to you, they might seem insignificant, but to us, that is literally the difference between do we go there, do we not go there? And are we expending the gas to go there, are we expending the personnel hours? Our insurance is being affected? So those things like that do play into it. With Stratton, once we hit 2,000 hours, we start charging at an hourly rate, just as we've identified. And so those are things, I mean, if we hit the 2,000 hours by January of this year, it's up to the board. Do you want us to be back in February, or what do you wanna do? Do you wanna pay more? How are we gonna work this?
Yep.
So, and that's the relationship we've established with the town of Stratton.
Okay. This, same topic, different question, I guess. I've been hearing a lot that the sheriff's department is being used less and less, even by its own hometown. What can we attribute that to? Is that something for us to look at?
I can't speak for other towns.
Okay. Has it been cost as a factor,
I can't speak for the other towns.
okay. That's all I have, yeah,
Okay.
as long as I get to get that comparison, that's what I'm most interested in, I guess.
Okay. Jeff?
Mark, I had a quick question. If the town of Vernon votes at this town meeting to reduce coverage hours, how would you be best prepared to, in other words, of saying, well, we're not gonna cover Mondays, and you want a irregular schedule? And how would you best be able to develop a schedule where people don't know, okay, they're not here in town, or they are in town?
Depends on the level of coverage.
Yeah.
So the letter that we sent, I believe it was end of October, November, that defines what I'll deem as a consistent police service. So you can pretty much rely on Monday through Sunday, somebody being on in a given set of hours. So if it's 24 hours, obviously that's all 24 hours. If it's a 20-hour shift, then we would find the places where it makes the most sense to cut that. So it'd probably be somewhere around midnight to 2 o'clock, and we would say from that point until whatever time in the morning, and we will work that out with the select board.
But I mean, you wouldn't, obviously you have stats to allow you to see that,
Yes.
rather than just anecdotally, well, Friday night is a problem, or Saturday night, and we're not gonna not cover those critical times of the week.
That's correct. We, again, our intention is crime prevention, so we're not gonna go home when we believe crime is occurring, and we also don't wanna say, we're not gonna be out between 2 AM and, say, 6 AM, just flat out, because then what do people do?
Do what they wanna do.
So, that would be a conversation we'd be able to have and be able to establish a symbiotic relationship where we could say, this is what will work for the town and this is what will take the town's budget into consideration, but ensure that we have coverage at the times we need it without the belief that we're just gonna disappear.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions?
I'm all set as well.
Very well.
I appreciate you coming and letting us ask our questions. We have some concerns and we needed to speak to you. And
And,
if you could do that, get us our breakdown, we'd appreciate it.
yeah, I'd be happy to do that, and, I can't speak for Sheriff Clark. I will certainly be here at town meeting, barring any unforeseen circumstances. And I suspect he will be as well, but I just don't know his agenda right now.
Yeah. Is there a possibility that I could meet with you and the sheriff sometime this week before Christmas, do you think?
No.
Or should I wait till after?
No, he's on vacation, so
All right, oh.
Unless you
Yes,
wanna take a
that's
trip down south, I'd be happy to go with you.
Yeah, well, all right.
Chris, one question that Josh had brought up, and I don't know if it's still a question for you, so I'll just toss it out there.
Yeah,
When they were-
my memory doesn't work,
When they
so-
were doing the contract, did they factor in the use of the office space?
Oh, yes.
That's built into the contract, yes.
Okay.
I think we were looking to see if we realized any savings because you guys have office space here.
That's, if you look at the language in our current contract, that's built in there, yes.
Okay, so then that would be taken into consideration when you do the Stratton versus us contract also.
In terms of,
Well, comparison, the 2,000-hour contract for the town of Vernon.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean, taking into account the space when we do that.
Well, you
What,
said
in what
in the
context?
In the current contract, you take the space into consideration, correct?
It's essentially established in the current contract as something the town provides for the service.
Okay,
There's not a,
so there's not a financial
A
benefit
financial
for us to
benefit.
do so.
there's potentially a benefit, because if I don't have office space here in Vernon, I need to have places where my deputies can go to do their casework. So if I can set up a relationship in Brattleboro, or if I have to go to Newfane, I mean, that's time that we're burning.
What do you
So-
do in other satellite towns currently?
Let me make sure. Every town that has a full-time deputy, they have a space. Stratton has a space, Putney has a space, I believe, I'm about 95% positive Westminster has a space. And then the additional towns that we don't have 40-hour coverage in, they just rely on us to obtain our own office space, which is usually Newfane.
Okay, do any of those towns charge you rent for that space?
No,
Okay.
because if you charge me rent, I'm just gonna build it in the contract. That's basically what it comes down to. It's a cost I can't absorb, it's a cost I can't eat, and why would I pay for space if I have space? So,
Gotta do what we gotta do.
Thank you, Mark.
that's my good.
Have a great Christmas.
Send you.
Aina, Nancy? Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, that might be your notes, I don't know. Unless you have it though.
The last time that I was here, I said I would come back with information for the scanning, and, there's some papers to hand out here. I called Nemrick, and they have never scanned books before. And,
Oh, great.
they usually have the people do it themselves.
Yeah.
So for 21 books, it'll be 64 hours at $125 an hour, it'll be $8,000, and they charge $125 for travel to and from, so there's $1,000, so there's $9,000. So as we found this out, this lady from Morrisville comes in, and she said that they microfilm all the records. So we were interested, and we asked her to come back today, which she was here this afternoon. I didn't have time to get all her information, but for scanning that amount of pages and books, they charge $3,527. And then they do digitizing, indexing, and titling of the records for another $1,618. Their travel time would be about $300. They could do 6 books at a time. And so it comes out to about $5,500. And their film is forever. It lasts forever. I brought one, and then we found out that Sandy had been doing this, but she did it with a company that's gone out of business, and this is called Silver Film, and it lasts forever.
Yeah, we used a microfilm.
Yeah, it's there. They're
It
there.
is there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but it only goes up to book 96. And I tried, and we're at 117. So I tried to call Sandy, but she didn't answer today.
No, she's gone for the Christmas holiday.
all right. So I need to talk to her, about what she did, and I need to, also decide, to me, this is the way to go. Nemrick only stores our records for 2 years. 2 years, unless we, we have to have a hard drive, and who knows what our technology will be in years to come.
Right.
But they store this forever, for almost half the price.
Yeah.
Is that a company in Morrisville? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Or
it's
is it-
Good Way Document Service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was here and she left her information. Guilford uses her, Dummerston uses her, and many other towns. But we didn't, since she was coming late, we didn't have time to call them, to talk to them. So I really would like to come back just once more. And then I'll have more information from Guilford, from Dummerston. I will feel better about it. But to me, this is the way to go.
Yep.
A quick question.
Yes.
You mentioned like travel time where they would come here. This
Yes,
is probably a dumb question, but could you not take the books to them?
I could. It's 3.5 to 4 hours to get there. Yeah.
I'm just curious.
And then wait, and it takes them, they could probably do 4 books, like an hour a book. That would be a long ways to go. Otherwise, they're willing for this $300, and it'll probably only be 2 trips to come pick them up, which the other, at first, I didn't want the records to go. I didn't want them
Right.
to go without me. But Guilford does it, Dummerston does it, every town that they have a contract with lets them take it on a Thursday, like for us, they would bring it back on a Monday. And they would have the records there, we would have the records, and we would probably store them downstairs in the lower vault. So I will come back again, but
Would you also get, you have one copy? but
yeah, make copies for
You can have copies
sure,
of the
yeah.
records.
No, you can have copies of the
Yeah.
microfilm he's asking.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
So
you could
it's
store
a
them in 2
silver
different
copy.
locations.
Right.
right.
So one will be stored off-site and one
I
will be
could have
stored
2
here?
copies.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they said it was $60, no, yeah, for a silver copy, $60,
Well,
right.
Can
And we do, yes, and we do have a machine that reads them upstairs. Sandy had it, so it's
yeah, I
there.
remember that machine.
Yeah.
It's quite a big machine.
Okay, the other thing I wanna talk about is our budget. And, I wanna just pass these, all of what we do. Could you pass this, please?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have much tonight.
Included in that is, the time from other years, the other budgets, and also we make up to $3,000 every year from the income that we take in the town clerk's office. So I just wanna read down, managing all the town's public records, and preserve public documents, including minutes, permits, contracts, warnings, maps, plats, mortgages, liens, current use applications, records of land transactions, forward, property transfer tax returns, and tax money to the state. Receive and keep minutes for all committees and boards, making 2 sets. One on archival paper and, one for public viewing. We have 2 notebooks of every committee. Keep and manage the vital records, births, marriages, divorce, deaths. Keep indexes of various public records in books, card form, in accordance with the statutes. Receive and keep the grand list annually. Make public record available to the public as outlined in the Access to Public Record Law. Post notices of hearing meetings inside, outside of the town office building and the town post office. Administer and record oaths as required in accordance with statutes. Manage to run local elections, maintain the town's voter checklist, which now we have much more to do. Each one gets a code. And this year, we're going to have the presidential primary, as you know, March 1st, and then the state primary, August 9th, and the presidential election, of course, on the 8th of November. We notarize documents, issue marriage licenses, issue and manage the licenses for dogs, and so far we have 360 dogs in town, and we have to make sure all the rabies are up to date. Serve on the Board of Tax Abatement as a clerk and voting member, serve as a voting member and clerk of the Board of Civil Authority, serve as recording officer and clerk of the local liquor control board, issue motor vehicle registrations, and we had 125 people come this year for that. Serve those seeking information, copies in person through emails, and work with the road commissioner to keep up the 911 address system, account for monies taken by the town clerk's office for copies, searches, registration, renewals, dog licenses, receive funds and complete forms for land posting, receive funds and complete forms for the Green Mountain Passport, and receive Vermont DMV excess weight permits. Receive, now these are the non-statutory duties. Receive the mail daily, stamp it and time it, sort and deliver as necessary, manage the James Cusick Scholarship, distribute and receive applications. There's a lot that goes on with that. Sell town trash bags daily and account for the funds weekly. Sell the town bus passes and account for the money every week also. Sell the town cemetery plots. Type the cemetery deeds with corresponding descriptions, present deeds to the select board for signing, record deeds in the land records order, cornerstones as needed, maintain records, card files, and maps for town cemeteries, and visit town cemeteries as necessary to sell the plots. Many times people want to go and see the plots, so we have to go with them to show what's available. Maintain key log, signing out keys as needed, keep track of the signing keys, receive completed building use forms, order office supplies as needed. So also, with all of that, Martha Dunkley and I, for a few years, got the vault down here in order. And we put all the maps in archival paper, marked them all what they were, fixed them with archival tape, and you have a notebook that names every map that there is. They're all in individual boxes, upstairs and downstairs. They're all done. And then we did the whole vault over. It used to be you could hardly walk in it, and now it's in pretty good shape. And okay, I showed you the wrong one. This is a map book. This is the how all the files are, and in each file we have recorded every document that's in it. And it's in here, and it's like 3/4 done. And I need more time to come down to finish it up, where all of you should know where everything is, because now all the drawers are full with treasurer's things and police things and our things. So that's why I'm asking you for more time. If the assistant town clerk could please have 40 hours instead of 29. We really need it. There's a lot of work, as you can see, that we need to do.
And new people are coming in, probably.
Right, we need to train somebody.
Yeah, training. Well, Josh, I'm looking this way again, sorry. How about you, Emily? You have any?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Josh?
I don't have any questions, no. Thank you for doing the research on the scanning. I think that's probably something we ought to just
Right.
get done and do, and
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we have, yeah, thanks.
Jeff, did you have anything on, we'll just consider it, talk about it, and
Don't we-
So is your next agenda full?
pretty much.
So I should come the time after?
I don't know.
Okay.
Katrina and I will work on it after Christmas. That following week, we'll get together probably the Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever, of that week. And I just put it down tentatively that if we have room.
the 4th?
On the 4th.
And you're gonna have the person from Morrisville come back and talk to you a little more, so you feel
Well,
more
she-
comfortable, or what?
No, I wanna talk, to Dummerston, to the town clerk, and Guilford.
Yep,
And I wanna
Okay.
talk to Sandy,
okay,
because she never told us any of this.
sure,
So I need to talk to her too,
okay.
yeah.
Alright.
Because I'm really leaning toward these people. They really sound, it's almost half the price, and it's forever.
Yeah. And if they
It
come
just-
with good references from other towns, it probably
Right,
makes sense.
that's what I need to check on, because she just came late this afternoon.
And that would help with your guys' workload too, obviously. You know, you can
Well,
get
then
rid
we
of that
wouldn't have to,
backlog.
yeah,
Yeah.
of scanning all those records, right,
Okay.
they would, and we have 19,000, over 19,000
Yes, yes,
in our, account.
yep, so we have
So-
the money there to take
Yeah,
care of it.
Right,
I think it's something that we ought to do sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
I don't know, if you wanna make a motion now, or you wanna wait?
I want you to be comfortable with who you're gonna be
Yes.
dealing with,
Okay,
so why don't you bring it to the next meeting?
okay,
After you're able to talk to other towns and get some good references for those people, that's my feeling at
Yeah,
least.
oh, no, I agree.
I don't wanna speak for
Okay.
everybody, but I want you to be comfortable and then
right.
we're gonna
That's
get
how
it
I
done.
feel, because I couldn't get a hold of Sandy, and
Mm-hmm.
it was too late to call the other two clerks.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any questions, Brian?
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Aina.
Thank
We'll
you.
let you know.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This is awesome work. Appreciate it. Bob? Janet, come on up. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here again for the planning
Become a
commission.
steady thing.
We are. So, well,
Thank you, Aina, again. Go ahead, Bob, sorry.
first of all, I wanted to thank the board for recommending to keep $2,000 in our planning commission budget. As I informed you at our last meeting on the 7th, we didn't get the municipal planning grant, but the $2,000 will allow us to, if it's passed in the budget, do some basic updates to the town plan. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yes. The main item we want to talk about, and it's on your agenda, is the proposed referendum regarding a natural gas-fired power plant. And we met with this board on the 7th, and then our board, planning commission, met on the 9th. And we had a fair amount of public input about the wording for a referendum, and we had a vote and recommended the following yes/no ballot question that would be put on a ballot at the March 1st Australian ballot. And as I think Nancy researched for us, thank you, this would have to be in a separate room than the actual voting, but it could be probably out in the,
Yeah, we can't be on a ballot as such,
Right.
but we could have our own.
45 days, whatever.
And then also
Right.
have something to do with how the town votes by article or,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at any rate,
the history of.
we can be outside of the main voting room
Okay,
with a booth, a sort of election, a booth of our own, with just a stack of questionnaires saying, please fill out this yes or no, do you want a gas plant or not? And that would then,
So the language that we are suggesting is, do you support a gas-fired electric generating plant being located in Vernon?
simple enough.
And there was a lot of discussion about other nuances and, but that is our recommended language.
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. All right, and we would, prior to that, be sending out a mailing townwide, informing the voters that there would be this referendum. We also would, that mailing would announce a proposed second public forum.
oh, which we changed the dates on from the last time.
Yes. We're now suggesting Wednesday, February 3rd, with a snow date of the following Wednesday, the 10th.
When was the original one?
January,
January.
I think the end of January sometime.
February, what was the date again?
February 3rd,
Snow date the
and then a
10th.
backup on the 10th
At what time?
at 6:30, the school. And we would,
Go ahead, keep talking.
Sure. Checked with Cindy on how a mailing was paid for for the last forum, and the select board covered that mailing. It was about $177.
The 177 was from printing and mailing?
Printing and mailing a townwide,
Really? Oh,
and we would put that mailing together and get it out
That's just
prior.
That's just for the mailing, because you guys.
Oh, I'm
did the-
sorry.
You did the printing for us.
Yes, you did the printing in-house, so it's
You have
just
to
the
get
mailing.
paper too.
In the
Thicker
paper.
paper, we need
Oh,
thicker,
yes.
yeah.
But we would work with, to get the mailing out.
Oh, that'd be
So the
great.
mailing would announce the public forum and the language of the referendum, so people could think of it
Yeah,
ahead of it.
it's good that everybody's working together.
So
I
we
like
need
that.
to allow them to take, what, $200 or $300 to get that mailing out from the select board, basically?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
There, as you know, the fiber optic committee is a subcommittee of the planning commission. And Munson, I believe, spoke at your last select board meeting about that. Their intent is to also have a town informational meeting. I'm not sure the date.
January
January
19th.
Is it tonight?
That is what we
18th
have
tonight,
asked
19th.
for.
That's
Okay.
We're waiting to hear from the school,
Okay.
but
And
that is what we've asked for.
Similarly, they were requesting a townwide mailing too, so that would be another $177 of postage.
Good lord.
Are they full page?
I'm not sure what they
Like,
would,
I mean, I wonder if they could be combined.
it's possible.
Just to save
Yeah.
on the
That's a
expense of
possibility.
paper. I mean, they're probably 2 weeks apart.
I don't see why they couldn't be combined.
Well,
They're both,
I mean, if you're.
figure it out and see. And if-
Okay.
and if
If you're-
you can,
We'll see if we can.
you
do
can,
that.
you can. If you can't, you can't.
Right.
Yeah, because the select board's gonna also have a public forum as well, to kind of wanna get a budget, kind of a forum in there too,
okay.
before
Well, maybe
town
we
meetings.
we could have a
Yeah.
coordinating meeting.
We can't, because yours might go in late
All right.
into the evening.
I will
With
talk
yours.
to, we'll coordinate with
Munson.
with,
Yeah,
We're
If I-
meeting this coming Monday here, somewhere in this, on this level. So we're meeting, by the way,
I got it.
is there any, anyone in the audience who would feel that we should try to keep the two mailings separate, or?
I just think if you put too much on a flyer, you confuse people.
I
And
think
there's
you're
gonna be
right.
dates, and if people are just gonna be all confused about it. I think you're better off for $177 plus paper to keep it separate.
yeah. I
It's
do.
And a
not
fair
lot
amount of
money, but it's
volunteer
huge.
time,
They're-
too.
They're all huge issues, so.
Yep, I think,
Well,
I think that's probably
I
a
think
good idea.
they're very different issues and
Yeah.
different constituencies, and
Yeah, I was trying to think, these great big stars in between, but, I think
It could
Patty
be
has
done
it
by-
right. I think it could be a little bit confusing.
okay. That was really all we wanted to do, is bring you up to date and get your endorsement, I guess, of the forum and the mailing and the referendum language.
I think it's great. Would you read it for me and for the audience one more time?
Yes, do you support a gas-fired electric generating plant being located in Vernon?
Just as simple and in great layman's terms. That's what I need. Thank
Okay.
you.
I have a
Thank you.
question. The last time we were talking about the language and it was brought up, by a resident, and I had the same concern, was the whole, do people have enough, do residents feel like they have enough information at this point to be able to answer that question? So I'm just wondering, you said you guys had a lot of discussion, I'm sure you did, about what the language should be, so I'm wondering if you could maybe give a summary of the discussion as to why you changed it to a yes, I support it, no, I don't, versus a yes, I support the continuing investigation of.
I think for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is a bit time sensitive in that if we're going to get nominated for the gas plan, it's gotta be done sooner rather than later. That was one reason. Another reason is the commission has been working on this very hard for a year. And if we're gonna continue to sort of kick the can down the road, we just keep working and working and working, and we don't know why. And also, the townspeople should have the right to make their decision, whether they are interested in this or not. And we thought we're gonna do another forum anyway,
Right.
before then.
Right.
So that if other questions came up, certainly we will also have another planning commission meeting post the forum, but before the vote, so that if there were other questions, we could have them answered at that time.
Okay.
There also will be a fairly extensive public review period when you go into citing any energy facility, the Section 248 process, where the town will have standing, where the planning commission will have standing, the regional planning commission and others who want to have standing in that review process. So we feel it's not an absolute commitment, it's really an opinion poll with plenty of future opportunity over probably a period of a year or two. So we didn't feel that we were giving away the store and saying, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's true, because actually the pipeline itself won't, Kinder Morgan put in all of their paperwork to have the pipeline approved, but that won't even happen until December at the earliest. So there are lots of things that have to happen before then anyway, and as you said, lots of opportunities for it.
And just so you know, we are, as subcommittees and subcommittees of the planning commission, researching the issues that were brought up at the first forum. And we hope to have some answers at the next public forum, which we're envisioning would be more focused around the actual subject matters that were brought up, rather than just here's a PowerPoint and here's the information, but have discussion and give and take. That's sort of how we're thinking of the next meeting.
Okay, sounds wonderful.
Well, there's a lot to look at. We're learning a lot and continuing to get informed.
Well, you guys have done
All
an
right,
awesome job. You
well, we're
actually
trying.
really
Thank
did.
you.
We are.
Thank you
Thank you
very
to this
much
board.
for all the information. Anybody else have any more questions for them before we let them go?
No, we probably need to make a motion to give them their money to do their mailing though, don't we? At some point.
Yeah, I
Sooner
don't think
rather
we
than
do.
later.
I
Just
think
come
that
time
a
with the budget.
consensus of the board, and that's, and I think that's a consensus.
Yeah, I did look. We don't have an actual
Postage.
postage
No.
budget like the select board and
We could use that 2,000
And,
next year.
yes,
I'm
possibly.
kidding.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
again, and thank
consensus
you.
of the board.
I have one question.
Just a minute. Bob, could you?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask that.
Go ahead, thank you.
Well,
Just wanna clarify that this is a non-binding referendum?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And
It's
that-
literally a yes/no opinion.
And
It's
will that
it's not
say
a
that?
referendum though.
It's non-binding.
It's a
I don't know what
non-binding
the
referendum. I
technical
think
definition
that's
is.
That's
probably
that's the
the
definition,
We'll say so.
yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
That means when you say no, Rana,
Yeah.
it's non-binding. We're not gonna listen to you. I'm kidding.
Well, I won't eat any more cheese then either.
either. Sorry.
Other questions for us?
Anybody else? Hearing none.
And
Okay.
again, thank you
Good
for
night,
that.
and thank you
Yes, thanks.
very,
Thank
very,
you so
very
much
much.
for that $2,000, that's gonna mean that we'll revise the whole town plan on our own.
All right,
Appreciate it.
yep. Thank you. Okay, Health Officer Mark, come on up. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited. We don't get to see you often. Enough. And congratulations,
Oh, thank you.
Grandpa.
Thank you. It's a good feeling.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so, I did call Mark about that junkyard starting or whatever, and he was already on it. And if we're gonna discuss any names, then we have to go into executive session. However, let's try to discuss it as best as we can, without using a name. And then Mark has some, questions for the board.
Yes, that property came to my attention a while ago. I did stop and talk to the owner. He assured me that he was gonna take care of the collection of junk, debris, and whatever else is on his property. Some time went by, and I noticed not much had been done. So I just recently stopped again, and they had made plans where somebody was gonna be coming weekly to take a pickup truck load out, until it was down to an acceptable amount. Though the person who was doing that stopped showing up. So, I did stop the other day after Chris talked to me, and I did say that the select board did receive complaints about that property. They do have concerns, so we need to step it up and get the place clean. So he is working on it. I have not issued a health order yet, or the intent to issue a health order, because actually the health order would come from you as the local board of health. It's not a situation where it warrants an emergency health order, so I have not done that. This is kind of a situation where I'm kind of working with the owner to get it taken care of. So that's what I've done up to this point.
Thank you for doing that, and you will keep us updated. You can, call me, email me, or whatever, and I'll
Okay.
let the board know if that's, acceptable to the board.
It is.
Do you have any questions about that, or?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
Nope.
Okay, on to the second item. As you know, health officers were appointed by the Commissioner of Department of Health upon their recommendation by the Select Board. Right now, as the health officer, we do not have any designated space in this building to maintain files that are related to town health officer issues. And I think that in the year 2015, it's time that we receive some space, maybe even a workstation, and become more part of the community.
How do you presently retain records now at your house?
Yes.
Not
And
good.
and the previous health officer retained them at his house. And
Yes.
so, yeah, so I don't think that's a good.
I think as a representative of the town, certainly shouldn't have to keep any kind of town records at home, at your own personal house.
Since we talked, I talked to Katrina about that. Katrina said that she has a file cabinet that you can use here. I don't see why you couldn't use this space, if you needed to.
Okay.
To, sit and go through your files, whatever, if your files are gonna be, I think being maintained in here, because this is a locked room, and it's up to the board, but this is a locked room, for the most part during the day. In the evening, the various committees have their meetings here. If that's okay with the board, Katrina has one, and gonna allow him to use in here and keep his records in here.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah, and we're gonna have an office opening up at some point after we remove records from it and put them in our new records keeping area, is that correct?
We are.
Okay.
However, also, you've kept the administrator in the budget, so we're gonna need space for an administrator as well. So, I mean, I don't know,
It's passed again this year,
yeah, if it's passed.
So there's a couple of file cabinets that have locks on them that I believe can be cleaned out and the records stored in the vault or one of the storage spaces.
Not vaults here, right?
Well, no, these records, there's a lot of
Oh,
old
old
records in
records,
here.
yes,
And I believe those could be going either in the new storage or in the current vault that we have, upstairs or downstairs, I don't know, downstairs I would assume.
Yes.
And then a key, I believe that Kevin Turnley has keys for those.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
we
those can,
yeah, I would say box them up, as soon as we can, I can
Mhm.
even help you and we'll get with, Ina and,
to see where we can store them until the new space is made.
yeah.
Okay,
So
so
you could
the
get
filing
started.
cabinet can be secured,
Mhm.
and the health officer and the assistant health officers would have access to those at any time we need them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll make sure that, if it's acceptable, from the board, that we get him a key to this room here so that he can have access at any time.
Absolutely.
Okay. So would you, make sure that a, email is sent to Kevin to get a key, extra key to,
Mhm.
you can give it to me and I can take it up to Mark or whatever, it doesn't matter.
He has to come sign it out.
Okay, then we'll have Mark come and sign it
Yeah,
out.
you have to come sign it
Yeah.
out. That's
Not a
the new
problem.
The
policy.
new rule, I guess.
Yes.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. And then, I wonder if we should get him a key to that door out there by the police department or have him sign it up now. I guess he could sign it out when there's nobody gonna be here. He's gonna be here on a Friday or Saturday or a Sunday, something like that, then you could go to the town clerks and sign one out.
Okay.
Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
That would be the police door
Okay.
there, that
The
way you
entry
can
door.
get in at any time.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome
Smart,
very
thanks.
much.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, did you have anything else?
No, thank you for being on
No.
top of something before it got to us.
No problem.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank
it came to my attention, and that certainly it was not good for the town, for many reasons, and so, yeah, so we're on it.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, we do not have a magic wand where you can take care of something like that overnight, because, that's a deeper issue than, what is seen on the surface, so. The other thing that I did is I actually made photocopied some of the town health officers' manual.
Oh.
Because as you, the select board, you are the local board of health, so you
Right.
do play a role as well. And I just wanted to make a photocopy of some of the regulations
Wow,
and
that's awesome.
the duties.
Yes.
So,
Thank
I'll
you
just
very
pass
much.
those out. You can read at your leisure.
All right, thank you.
It's good reading, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Do you have a couple more, one for Sandy?
I
I
can
do.
I was just saying, she doesn't
Yeah.
have anything.
There you go. Is that enough?
Yes,
Yes,
perfect,
thank you.
thank you very much. One for Sandy. Yes, thank you very much. This is gonna be helpful. We sometimes forget our role at times. And this is just one of many, and I appreciate it.
Certainly, at any time the board has questions or would like to talk to me, I'm just a phone call away.
Mhm.
I don't mind coming in here, attending the meeting, periodically to give you an update or provide answers to some questions you may have or anything like that, so.
Yeah, we started with great intentions in March to have, monthly at least, or every other meeting, or every meeting have a different committee or a different person in to talk about and update us all on everything. It fizzled out for some reason. Things
Budget is why
Yeah,
it fizzled
yeah,
out.
The budget
yeah. So,
was
but yes, absolutely, we'd
Okay.
love to have you come in and
Okay,
we'll.
just let me know and.
Yes.
be happy
I
to
would
do
like
that.
to have an update on how this is getting cleaned up, probably by the 1st of February, maybe? Would that be time enough?
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Just when snow flies, it's gonna be.
It will be all covered then.
I know, when snow flies, it'll make that
Yeah, we've been
very
fortunate
difficult,
so far
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
But, and I will say that there has been some improvement at the property. Now, whether, he's taking it from this area and putting it over here, I can't say. But,
Yeah.
I can say from what I've seen, there is an improvement.
Okay,
Is
good.
it, I don't know if you can answer this, but is it just a need for help? Or, for the use of a truck, not everyone has a truck, is it just that,
I
a
think
truck
that's
is
part of
needed,
it,
or?
but I think that it's a hoarding
Oh, okay.
situation.
Yeah.
And, hoarding is a deeper
Right.
situation
Psychological.
than what we see on the surface. And so I think that's part of the problem. So, You know, it's not like going heavy-handed and say you need to clean it up, because that does not work. You have to kinda
Yeah.
put yourself in that position and work with the individual and
Right.
get them to be on board with you.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yes, thank you very
Thank you.
much, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. The capital plan presentation is moved to January 4th. So, we're going to take cemeteries. Come on up, Marylynn.
4 minutes, and then we'll still be on schedule.
4 minutes. Emily said that, I didn't.
I said, if you only take 4 minutes, we'll actually be on schedule.
Depends on how fast you
Yeah.
Don't ask any questions.
are. Don't ask any questions. Just sign it. I have the one to sign.
So, this is my question.
No.
What has changed from the last one? And, because we haven't had time to, obviously read these over.
We put our mission statement in the top.
Yep.
We separated out into sections, Vermont state laws,
Yeah, it looks great.
burials, and we did want to add one little thing under burials on item 2, where it says winter burials. That in the winter, that the vault is available at no cost.
It is available? It's plowed and it's taken, I mean, so they can, okay.
Right.
All right, and how would you like that worded? Oh, during the winter time, during winter months?
What did, Mrs. Mosley, what did you say? She came up with that this
Do
afternoon.
we have winter burials, you see under item 2?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I just think either as part of that or as a separate item in the 2A, that the town vault is available for storage at no cost.
Okay.
When
So-
when the library's closed, when the cemeteries are closed, probably you should say.
All right,
The
so
town-
how about during winter months, when the cemeteries are closed, the vault is available at no charge? Simple enough, correct? Is that,
Probably you should say town, well, it couldn't be townspeople though, because people from out of town
Yeah.
get buried, so I guess you just say available.
okay,
I'll figure some word to put in there so it doesn't move this all down too
Okay.
much, so you can sign the last page and it won't change that.
Okay.
Is that, if that's agreeable?
yeah, that's fine.
Everybody? Okay. So we did that, and then we did the regulations. We added some things like dogs not permitted except for service dogs, no alcoholic beverages,
Or tobacco products.
or tobacco products, right. A lot of it is pretty much the same about cleaning up lots, shrubs need to be maintained. What the town does provide, the clipping and mowing, that the lot owner is responsible for, you know, things that they put there, or that the committee can take care of them if the lot owner doesn't. I mean, it's worded better than that. Bicycles and unauthorized motor vehicles are not permitted past the gates.
Yeah, you haven't at this point, asked for the cemeteries to be closed yet,
No snow.
so, keep them as
Yeah.
long as you
Right.
Until
We
you
usually
come
do until
anyway,
there's
you'll let us
sufficient,
know.
yep, until there's
Yeah.
sufficient snow, yeah.
Yeah.
We added, though because of the research we had done, it had said in the old one that we had done about monuments and headstones being placed on bases. We added, footstones to be raised 3 feet, and also that flat markers have a
3 inches.
wash, right.
3 inches.
Right, oh, what did I say, 3
3
feet?
feet.
3 inches. We
These
also
tolls.
added that flat
Emily,
markers
right?
must have a wash, which is a liner installed so they don't sink.
Yeah,
So-
that's something new, right? Yeah.
We've got a lot of expense in bringing those up. A lot of them, they're sinking. So,
Now,
and we'll get this to,
is that up to the monument owner, or is that up to the cemetery committee to get them raised? Don't know yet.
yeah, I guess it's a toss-up. I guess we don't really have to do anything, but, I mean, some of those old ones that need to be raised are pretty old. So there's
Yeah.
there's nobody to do it.
Yeah, no.
You know, we found one by accident.
Well,
You know, I mean, it is owned by the lot, I mean, the markers are owned by lot owners,
right.
not by the town, so.
Also, I remember you and I had talked about, I know I call it lichen, some people call it lichen, whatever grows on the,
Yep.
stones. Who is actually responsible? Is it I, because that's my stone, or is it the, go ahead.
Well, the lot belongs to the lot owner, so I mean, I guess it's a toss-up again, whose responsibility is it? But if you're not careful when you clean it, and there's specific ways in cleaning it, you can ruin the stone. So, I think probably that's another thing that we're gonna do in the spring, is to clean a lot of those stones. Is we're gonna have to get someone to do that. Mrs. Mosley went to a class last year down in Greenfield,
She told us that.
all about old stones and how to clean them and
That's good
history and
information to
everything,
know.
so. She's gonna go out there and clean all, no.
Quite a complicated, expensive process if you have it done by a person.
Can be. so.
Very time consuming and
bet it is.
also
Yeah.
has to be only plastic, it can touch you don't go and put
You know, power wash.
Clorox on it or
Oh,
something
yeah,
to try to
yeah,
get rid of it.
yeah.
Because you damage the stones
Yeah.
very easily.
Is it something that could be handled by like, you know, like the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts? I mean, is it a simple enough
I wouldn't do that.
project, no?
It's perhaps simple, but it's very time consuming. They have to
Maybe.
put water after water, wash it, and then
Yeah,
dig
I
some
would be
more with
afraid
their
if-
plastic brushes, and then wash it again, and
Yeah.
It might
so
be
I think
older,
children would get pretty tired.
yeah,
An Eagle Scout might wanna take a certain section and do it
Yeah.
for
do a few,
Eagle
yeah.
Scout project.
Older ones maybe that are well
That's-
supervised.
Right, that's,
might be able
I
to
wasn't thinking
do-
about bringing
well
in
behaved.
daisies or, you know.
Nice way of putting it. For you, I mean, I wouldn't put it nicely, of
You know,
course,
I mean, but not smaller kids,
No,
but
no, I wouldn't.
older scouts maybe that are well supervised, or like an Eagle Scout that needed a
Right.
project, not to do the whole thing, but just to do a few or something.
You
Yeah.
might pick out a few
Yeah.
that need it badly or are important.
I mean, I don't know of anybody that's
Yeah.
looking for a project to do, but,
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rita, speak up
Christine,
loud.
I did my parents and my grandparents, but I don't remember. When my Uncle David was up here from Georgia and my cousin Robert, we all cleaned up. But I'd have to ask Robert what he used. But I know we used brushes and we used lots of water but I don't know if we just used Dawn or what we used, I don't remember.
Okay, What's the board's pleasure?
I have a question.
You go right ahead.
Number 6 about the ornaments. 'Cause I know the, like solar lights and things like that are, but they're getting more popular, and the second sentence there says any ornaments are to be removed on a monthly basis. And, you know, most people keep their solar lights out there year-round. Actually, I need to go get my mom's, cause I don't like to leave it there year-round, but, so I wasn't sure if you were, where in your verbiage, if you had thought about those kinds of new
Really
additions that have come up.
Really hadn't thought about solar lights. I think we went back to thinking, because before people will put out like Christmas decorations.
Right.
Or Halloween decorations or something, and then Halloween comes and next spring they're still sitting there,
Yeah.
you know?
So I guess that might be maybe a little bit of a suggestion. I don't know if it's worth adding to it, but, cause it's not spoken to specifically.
Marylynn?
Bird feeders, we have bird feeders are specifically.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I think it was more about taking away things when they became inappropriate.
Appropriate,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seasonally inappropriate.
Yeah,
A
like
bunch of flowers that have been dead.
fake flowers that have been there for
Yeah.
15
Exactly.
years,
Right.
yeah,
But
and
I'm-
lost their
Yes.
color.
But I know, like, for me, you know, a couple summers ago, I bought a solar light to put up at my mother's grave. And, I mean, I didn't get the paperwork on the site when it was purchased, so I didn't know what their rules were. And I was questioning whether or not I could even have one up there. So I ended up driving up there at night and saw a bunch of them and figured it was okay, but,
We could,
So,
I mean, we can
yeah.
put us,
What about putting seasonal ornaments? Would that be
but
not-
sometimes seasonal, it's not just seasonal, sometimes there's
Dead flowers.
there's
dead
dead flowers,
Yeah.
there's pinwheels, there's
I would just leave it, I
Um,
think the choice of having a,
what you call an ornament, I may not call,
Right.
you know, you
Well,
may
I'm-
not call an ornament, I may call it
Yeah.
an ornament.
I mean, the solar lights, I mean.
well,
let's
what if you
keep
added it to number 5? Cause it says that, you know, you will only remove it if it becomes unsightly, dangerous, you know, whatever. If you just added, I mean, I don't know that you need to get specific about solar lights, but people are using them more and more in cemeteries. And I know for me specifically, I had that specific question about
Right.
my mom's grave, so I don't know.
I mean,
if
we
you
could
need-
add into 6, solar lights are permitted.
Or, yeah, even something simple like that, but, you know, cause like I didn't know if I needed to remove mine for the winter, I chose to, or, you know, I've chosen to remove it every winter, but that's my choice, I don't know if I
Right,
need to
right.
or not, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I know there's some cemeteries in Brattleboro that you have to take everything out.
Right,
Or the
well, yeah,
caretakers
she's in
will.
Brattleboro, so.
They will take
um,
everything out.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Bronna.
So is that,
I was just wondering when these will be final so that we could have them on the unofficial website. And also I would like to put a reference to them, a paragraph saying that they are in existence and where you can find them now in the newsletter. And I don't know if you want it in the January newsletter or the February or whatever.
if they sign them tonight, I will make those 2 corrections. I will take them to the town clerks tomorrow so that they can record them, and then
here's
they
my-
will be,
Here's my, if you don't have my email, here's my,
I think I do, but,
okay,
yeah.
I think you do too.
Yeah. And then I will send them to you when
Yeah,
they're
and
recorded.
I think that Martin should have them for the town unofficial website, and I would put a link in the newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you, Bronna.
So with the one correction,
Two,
two corrections.
yeah, we're gonna put the solar lights are
As corrected.
permitted.
Just approve them as corrected.
Perfect, yes. I make a motion to approve the cemetery regulations presented tonight as corrected.
second.
Any more discussion? Rita, you have to come up to the microphone. That's a rule I'm gonna stick to, because we can't hear, she can't hear you.
Is it against
Page
the
to sign.
law to dig your own grave?
Well, it says it in there that you have to get, no human remains, whether casket or cremation, shall be buried, and that's digging,
Right.
without a Vermont state required burial permit issued by the town
And
clerk.
it said in the rules that no cars are supposed to be in the cemetery, right?
Right,
Unauthorized vehicles.
unauthorized vehicles.
Well, I was coming home from Keene yesterday and somebody was in the North Cemetery digging a grave and their car was parked in there. was like 3 or 4 people in there.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
You should have called me.
Yeah,
I
you
would have
should've
called,
I didn't
or called
know
Mary,
what to
not
do,
me,
so-
but Mary Lynn.
Well,
Either one of us.
do you know they didn't have a permit?
I don't know. I just drove by and saw him in there digging.
Yeah.
So,
I know someone called me a while ago that had a cremation and called me about it, and I said they had to have a permit. I don't know if that's who it was,
I don't know. I didn't see their faces
and I don't know
and I
whether
just
they,
saw
and I don't know
3 or 4
whether they got a permit or not.
3 or 4 people in there, but I thought the funeral homes or something like that were supposed to be doing stuff like that. So-
Not necessarily, if
Really?
you get a permit from the state through the town clerk's office, then you have a right to do that, yes. Thank you. What would happen if you saw somebody, they should call you and ask you to go there, or?
I would go.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you could even call the sheriff's.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
I
actually
mean,
you can, because this
You
is
can.
going to be recorded and it's.
And then enforced by law
Yeah.
enforcement, but
Yeah.
I would go check. But you can.
So are you saying that your intent is to allow people to put their own cremations in the plots?
There's no law against that.
There's no law against it, but they have to go through you to get the permit, burial
To go
permit.
through the clerk's office to get a permit.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is you have to know the cemetery to know where the lot is. That's what's been happening, is people think they know where their lot is and they don't.
Yeah, but wouldn't
But
that,
if you have cornerstones, you should know where their lot is.
but would it, when they applied for a permit, say, through you, and you give it out, couldn't they ask you at that time to take them there to show them, or would you ask, or,
The
I
only
mean, I don't
ones
know.
I've done they've used the grave digger, the man who does the grave digger.
So you've not given any permits out for, people to dig their own?
No, but I do know there's some buried in long lots.
Yes, we know that.
So I guess I'm just trying
All
to
too
think of
well.
how to avoid that.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I guess I'd have to look at the permit application, I haven't really studied it, but
I've never
just
seen
thinking
it, so.
through, if somebody goes in the cemetery and thinks they found their right lot, and they didn't, and so then they dig it themselves, versus the guy who digs the graves has maps for that very reason.
Right.
And he doesn't really do anything without coming to us, checking the cards, checking the maps, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't know, I'm just asking the question, I
Yeah, no,
haven't
I-
had to do it.
I get your question,
Right.
and I appreciate it, but, how could we,
But if you buy a lot and it has cornerstones,
But many of them don't.
yeah, we know that all too well,
And unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know.
right? But I think
mean, even the
Nancy's
grave
hitting
digger,
on
and
something
I
here
know.
that we need to,
but I don't know.
Even the grave digger and the monument guy, I mean, I've been to the cemeteries with them like 4 times in the last 3 or 4 months. And we are there with tape measures and straight edges and so forth, and we rack our brains sometimes trying to see where the edges are and the corners and stuff. I just don't think it's smart, because I think you're gonna end up
yeah, but
in trouble.
we can't not let somebody do that.
I understand if it's legal, but can we
If it's
look at
legal.
can we look at the application and try to think of how this would work? That we
I,
wouldn't just be sending.
I would consider looking at that, yeah,
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 and
definitely,
check
but-
into it a little bit before we just leave it to, you know.
Well, we can change the application, can we not?
I tell you, I don't have one.
I think I would like to see the application and
I wonder if it's a standard form.
Yeah, 'cause I
like a
think we-
state form.
Well, if
Because
it's a
if it's a
state
state form,
form,
then
there's
we
nothing
can't
we can
really
do about it.
modify
Well,
it, but I don't know if it
if
is.
you use funeral homes and crematoriums, they have them, so.
Well, see, that maybe be something that you could suggest to people that come in to get a permit. You know, that you really need to know where you're burying these people, do you need us to go with you? Do you know, maybe, it doesn't cost that much for a grave digger to come and dig, but I used a grave digger, now I have to move my husband. You know, so, I mean, you can,
I think that's
You know,
because,
He made the mistake.
he made the
because
mistake.
somebody told you the wrong lot.
Right, I realize that, but it was all a big mistake, and so,
And he didn't
I mean,
verify.
it can be, yeah, I'd like to look at the thing,
Yeah, I
let's
think,
do that,
I'd like to check into it a little bit, because
that
if
sounds
we can
great,
go show them, that's fine, but.
yeah. Yep, I agree, should be, something there, but yeah, anyway,
We have a motion on the floor.
we do. Motion made and seconded to sign these, or accept these and sign them. All five of us need to sign it, along with the committee, cemetery committee. I don't see my name on there, so they took me out of there. No, I'm kidding.
Well, we weren't sure. So.
Yeah, for cemetery rules and regulations, as corrected. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
I got a quick question, it's a little off topic for Is there, if somebody wanted to be buried on private land, what are the laws against being buried on your own land?
There is no law.
So you don't need a permit from the state, or
Nope.
you just dig a hole and?
Just to go.
Mark it, I think it has to have
I
a,
think you have to mark
fence
it.
around it?
Yeah, you have to mark it.
fence it.
you have to
Put a
fence
fence
it.
around it, okay,
Yeah.
like a small
Um,
family cemetery?
There's a,
Start your own cemetery.
there's a thing at blct.org
Yeah.
or com or
Right.
whatever it is, that you can, pull off of that. It's called, something about no digging or diggers or something like that. But it is about cemeteries and how you can do it on your own property. But you know, you have to put a fence because people are dying to get in there, so you know. Brother, I had to do that. Come on up.
To get
What-
out.
There's nowhere to get out.
You do have to put a fence.
Jeff, just to clarify though, there are laws about bodies,
Yeah.
dead bodies. You know, so it's not necessarily that you can't dig your own grave, but it's where the body is when the person dies and then where you're going with it. So you have to, there's transfer.
So in other words, if I died in Canada, there'd be a problem
There's
with,
transfer permits.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
For
not,
body, for the
I'm not
movement of dead
suggesting,
bodies.
you know, throw,
I'm serious.
I'm not suggesting throw body in the back of a pickup truck
My point is where the person dies, there has to be a permit for where the
Yeah,
body's
depending,
going.
yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay,
Transfer.
we're just being,
There you go.
They're not being serious.
yes, I know, we're
You are.
bad. Katrina, please write to Sandy that she needs to come to the, where, to you, to town clerks,
Well,
to sign that. We'd like to have her sign
just when
that.
is she due back? I wanna
Not
get-
until after, the weekend.
Okay, I'll get with her.
Okay, never mind then.
I'll get with her to sign
All right. Anything else, Mary Lynn?
this. No, I have
Oh,
the
yes, an
article.
appointment, you wanted
Oh,
to,
yes, Dean Spalding appointed. I have the article too, if you wanna do that while I'm sitting here. Or do you wanna wait?
no, wait till the appropriate time. Okay, so, the cemetery committee would like to appoint, I believe,
Dean Spalding.
yeah, Barbara Mosley mentioned it to us at the last meeting, that the cemetery committee would like to appoint Dean Spalding to their committee. The pleasure of the board, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we're going on. Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Dean Spalding to the cemetery committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay,
Marylynn, can you get me his email address so I can include him on the warnings and stuff?
Ask Janet.
Oh, Jenny.
yeah.
You do, thank you.
All right, bills and
Janet's
warrants.
It's contact information.
I gotta find. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of this headache days.
Ronna pointed out that I don't know if it matters, but,
It says September 21st. I don't do them.
well, I don't,
have
but I
to
don't know
point
if
it
it
out, yeah.
matters,
Well,
cause it's
kinda-
just a sheet of,
Yeah,
it's
no,
just a
it's
note,
just
I
our,
don't know that it's,
yeah, it's our cheat sheet.
that's what I was thinking, but,
So, but thank you, Bronna.
Thank Barbara, she's the one who,
Oh, okay, thank you, Barbara.
for noticing was sitting.
Our cheat sheet had the wrong name on it.
I only have 3,
1, 2, 3.
I only have 3.
It's just the messenger.
Okay, so which ones do you have?
That's what I'm trying to, where's the total, 40,
Don't want to keep you awake.
oh, 20, no,
No, it should be on the second page if there's a second page.
this is the payroll. I'm trying to figure out what I'm not sure if it's gross or net or net.
Well, it should match the figure that you have.
Well, that's what
It doesn't?
well, there's a net amount and an electronic amount, and so they
Well,
might
you-
be adding those two numbers together.
Well, you can't change your numbers, cause
I'm not trying to change her numbers, I'm
so sorry.
trying to,
Arrive to the,
I'm trying to
To
figure out,
arrive to
trying
the
to figure out
same
which
thing.
one of these totals matches this
Yeah, I
one.
got it.
And I'm not sure if the,
Oh, wait, thanks.
let's see if I can do it on the warrants.
Hi,
You
JJ?
don't wanna open your bag up,
I,
did you?
No, bring it home.
this might be from I think this might be from September 21st, cause that was the night of one of our regular meetings. And the actual warrant itself doesn't match. The AP warrant doesn't match.
Well, you know,
So-
she's already paid them, we can,
Well, are these,
I don't understand why we only have 3 when there's 4 here.
because I
Because they're
think this
not
actually
matching.
is September 21st.
they're not matching up.
Right, I think this is the cheat sheet from September 21st, not December 21st.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Cause the numbers don't match and the number of warrants don't match. So, I mean, what I can do, cause it's the net amount that we approve, right?
I think so, I don't know. I would
Sure, I
think
can
so.
pull up the wrong one.
If they're wrong, we can always, or change
I
them
mean,
at
I
the
can
next
add up the
meeting.
net amounts of the payroll, cause you've got checks and you've got direct deposits, I can add those up and we can approve
No, I think
what
that-
I've,
Yeah,
what I calculate. Okay,
well, I don't know if that's,
cause see, like this is what, so here it does 95,000, that's not even close to 215,
yeah,
I think
that's your
actual.
amount right there.
Well,
That's your
right.
actual,
Right.
actual, yeah, so I
But
get what
when
you're
you,
saying,
but when
she
you
gave us the
deal
wrong
with,
cheat sheet.
but when you deal with
Just
payroll,
make sure I didn't.
I don't know if we have to approve the gross pay
Yes,
or the net.
well, the gross pay because,
And the reason I say that is
because your federal's
because,
in there, your FICA, all that stuff is in there, so
But-
it's the
No, she
total.
listed it as 921 warrants, I thought maybe I gave you the wrong one, but in the actual email,
She
she
wrote it.
listed it as 921.
but payroll is usually like 8 to 10, I mean, looking at September,
Yeah.
that's 8 to 10,000. And the gross of these two is 12,000 and 13,000, so I think it's the net pay, cause we're approving the check. We're not approving the gross pay, we're approving the
The net.
checks.
It's actually.
When do we pay the, where do we approve the federal payments then?
In,
In the regular
in
warrants?
the,
Okay.
I believe in the warrants.
Oh boy, don't put them here. Yeah, I know, these,
No, maybe not, cause I don't see like state of Vermont. Maybe not, cause I don't, trying to think what, if we would,
well, I think federal and state tax is paid quarterly maybe?
that's what I was trying to remember, I'm trying to remember the
I'm
rules
trying
of
to
how
remember,
many
I don't,
employees
it's
and
been
whether
too
we
long, I don't
have
even
to.
care to remember, but yeah.
Well, it says total deposits for quarter, so we might pay them quarterly.
Yeah, I think so.
Hold on. Or we might pay them monthly.
Who's got the bad cough? Oh my.
Cause this tax liability report is showing, no, those are weekly. These are for the month, first month of the quarter, second month of the quarter, so we might make,
Okay to table it?
I think we should table it.
Just for clarification purposes.
Let her go ahead and pay them,
You
and
can
we'll,
do it by,
yeah.
once we contact her, you could ratify it at the next meeting.
We can also go in on Monday and
Yeah.
sign them.
they're signed.
I mean, oh, okay, yes, that's
They're
right.
They're all,
signed.
it's
It's
just,
the actual
it's the motion.
Yeah, we'll just,
Can I make a motion that, do I have to include a dollar figure in the motion, or can I
No,
approve
go
the
ahead.
three? That, can the motion just be for the 3 warrants that were presented at tonight's meeting?
yes, you can do that.
Can we do that? Okay, then I'll make a motion that we approve and pay the 3 warrants that were presented at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pay the 3 warrants that were at meeting tonight. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And maybe we could get you know,
Education.
yeah, a little bit of
In case it
education,
happens
if you
again.
could get that for us, Katrina. Thank you. All right, so minutes. I know there's like these little glitter
It's
pieces
the-
everywhere. Oh,
Just
Full of
glitter
glitter,
everywhere.
full of glitter for your life.
yes, Marylynn, come to the thing.
It's got to be fixed.
I wanna thank Katrina for including me, but, December 14th I was not here.
Yes,
She was there.
Maybe.
I knew you said that.
Her ghost was sitting back there.
My ghost was sitting there. And then, I hate to bring up bad things, but on page 2, the Fairpoint bill,
Oh, we've already had this argument,
I know,
Marylynn.
it's not an
I'm
argument,
kidding.
it's not an argument.
No,
I'll
I'm
argue
kidding.
with you later.
Okay, I know.
Janet and I, yes, were on the committee that did this, and we handled a lot of communications. But what happened was, it wasn't like calling the phone company and saying, I don't want you anymore, now I'm with this phone company, please switch me. When we did that, and we set up the work for the the Comcast to come down and start switching lines, all of a sudden, this Mike Tatro visualized that we had no idea who he was and what he did. So our schedule that we had with Comcast to switch lines went out the window. And we found that there was a lot of telephone lines that no one knew where they went, no one knew anything about them, because anytime that anybody wanted a new phone or a new fax or a new whatever, they just called up, because everybody's telephone lines were separate. Nothing was joined together, which is what we did with that package. So they had all these lines then that were unused. So Comcast's schedule had to work according to Mike Tatro's schedule, and they coordinated. Janet and I were then done with it. They were supposed to schedule, and it was Mike Tatro that was supposed to take care of these lines. So if they didn't get switched or they got left, he's the one that should have been handling it.
Yeah,
Can we just remove the names and just say that a committee
yeah.
So
handled
we
it?
were done with it at that point, once
Mhm.
that they started that switching. He materialized from, we knew nothing about him, and all of a sudden,
There he was.
there he was.
Okay,
You can't remove the names because it
So,
was
right.
yeah.
talked about.
I
She's
know.
clarifying,
Right,
so in the
right, yeah,
minutes,
that's
we'll write the
clarifying, right.
clarification,
Okay, yeah.
but you can't
So
actually change
that's
them.
where these lines, I mean, there's umpteen lines in there that he, I don't know, where he went with them,
Okay,
but I wasn't at the meeting. Thank you very much.
You were-
thank you very much.
You were right there.
Oh, okay, maybe there.
Thank you.
I didn't find any problems.
No, I
The-
didn't either.
Are we talking about, on December 7th, I incorrectly listed the fiber optics forum date. It is actually the 19th of January. Munson sent me an email
So that one would be,
as corrected.
yeah, approved as corrected. Oops, as corrected.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from December 7th as corrected.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the December 7th minutes as corrected. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Now, Marylynn was on that one too, correct, or was she on the 7th?
No, she was on the
She's on the
14th.
I mean 14th, okay, so that's gonna be an as corrected too.
Correct.
question on the, I guess, layout of the, we just did the 7th, right? Okay, on the minutes from the 14th, on page 5. At the very bottom, that point of order prerequisite can't stop him from running. Where, what, I mean, wasn't that?
That
It was
wasn't-
up, it was up
That
earlier
was
in the
more-
meeting. Yeah.
Oh, 'cause he spoke to it at that time.
Yes, that's where
Okay.
he spoke to it at
Okay.
that time.
Who spoke to it?
Dale
Doesn't it-
Bassett.
Okay, but his name's not even
I
here.
know,
Oh,
it
did I
was.
miss his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you said
needs to
point-
say Dale Gassett had a point of order.
Wait a second, let me find it.
Yeah, cause I know it was in talk about the whole whether Jeff
Oh,
could
actually-
or could not run and.
Actually, that should not be
Anybody
there.
can run, but,
That should not be in there because it is under public participation. That is
Okay.
a section that should have, that was a cut and paste and it should have come
Oh.
out of there.
okay,
Alright,
alright. Just for the record, Jeff is a man of his word. He said he wasn't going to,
and
he's
then
not
there's
going
Dean
to.
Law.
However, he can if he wants to.
I'm not gonna run again.
Again and
I
again.
didn't wanna bring that up, but it didn't make sense, I couldn't follow.
No, that was the that
When I
was
was
it.
there, so I knew where it came up, but it didn't
I
make sense.
just want everybody to know he's a man of his word.
Okay.
And if you don't believe me,
So-
ask him.
Are those your notes as you're typing and you forgot to delete them?
Yeah, I cut and paste
Yeah.
and then I forgot to delete them, so
Yeah,
that's what
okay.
that was.
Okay, so we removed those, alright. Then I will make a motion to approve these minutes as corrected.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes as corrected. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, moving right along. You know, we're gonna go to articles. Did you wanna take the fire warden now?
I don't mind doing that.
Okay,
Yeah,
if
let's
that's
do
a
that.
consensus of the board, let's do that. As you know, the town clerk received a phone call resignation from Ray Capen. I received a call shortly thereafter from Ray Capen. Same thing, he wanted to be, he resigned, as of that morning. And I contacted Esden immediately, and, we have JJ as a deputy. If it's the board's pleasure, we put him as the, fire warden. And, Todd Capen has offered to be the deputy warden, which we'd have to go through, you know, sending information to Jim Esden, the state fire warden, and he would get a hold of Todd, and then Todd would have to go through an application and so on and so forth. So, that's it. Did you wanna say something on your behalf, how great you are, or anything like that? You're, this,
Other than what we had discussed on Friday.
come on up.
On Friday, I had to speak to Chris, about a week ago, even though I did talk with Mr. Edson, back in July. Ray was supposed to sign paperwork and hand it over to the board. But I have talked to the state. Everything is kosher other than the board signing the paperwork. And then Chris and I also had discussions about what should be happening from further on with issuing out burn permits. So,
Yeah, I wanted the board to, I couldn't give him a yes or a no as to what he felt, that maybe there'd be, if he wanted, if he wasn't unavailable and Todd was unavailable, that maybe they could say, well, so, we're gonna give so-and-so from the fire department, an okay to go ahead and issue burn permits, but I told him that I would not support that.
Can you do that?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but he said yes. But I wouldn't support that. I told him only because people can leave their phone number and they can get him, or Todd could get back to them, and they just won't burn until they've contacted them. Only because I can't even imagine if somebody, authorized a burn permit that really shouldn't have been, I don't know.
But what liability does the town have? In other words, if the town appoints a fire warden and a deputy fire warden, and a third person was involved, I mean, if things went wrong.
The fire warden is allowed to appoint individuals in the town. It be one deputy, a couple of deputies, they're allowed to do that.
So
Prime example is town of Brattleboro.
But not without a permission from the board. You can't just appoint a deputy without the board recommending that deputy to Jim Esden. As far as I know, in the past, that's how he has stated that that's how it went. But I mean, if you know something different.
This is something he had brought up to me back in July. That is something that can be done by the warden.
That would be maybe a question you could ask him.
Yeah,
so that
because
we
they
know.
he wouldn't appoint, at one point you wanted 2 deputies
Right,
and
he
he would
wouldn't
not,
appoint.
he wouldn't appoint them, nor would he
Right.
let that happen.
So,
I'll ask him.
yeah, we'll get some answers there, but anyway, go ahead.
But what I'm saying, prime example is Brat Fire. They have their warden, which is the fire chief. He then allows his personnel to go out and issue out the burn permits. And it's all of his paid personnel.
But it's under his
authority
authority or supervision.
Yes, yep. But it's just something if we're both not around.
Well, like Chris said,
Right.
it's not an emergency, somebody
No.
has to burn their trash
No.
or,
Yeah.
If they're burning the trash, we got a problem.
yeah. It isn't gonna be an emergency situation, I gotta burn this.
Yeah.
Right.
I just,
It shouldn't be.
yeah, I just feel he should wait and let the fire warden or the
Yeah.
deputy fire warden get back to them. Is that the consensus of the board on that one, on that subject?
Yeah, I think so.
I will need a motion to,
You move to appoint J.J. Wielden as Vernon Fire Warden.
Second.
any discussion? Motion's been made and seconded to appoint, J.J. Wielden as fire warden for the town of Vernon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Now, do you want us to move forward with Todd Capen or as deputy?
Yeah.
You can name somebody else if you want. I mean, he's offered and, somebody else had offered.
You volunteering?
Yes, he is.
No, you.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't want that on my back. Me, I'd give him permission.
Bobby Miller also has been very interested in this in the past.
Yes, but
As
the
well.
thing is that Bobby Miller, the problem with Bobby Miller is that people can't get a hold of
You
him.
have to be able to get a hold of him.
Yeah, you have to be able to get a hold of, people. I mean,
Do we need a motion to make Todd?
yeah, we have to be able
I make a
to,
motion to make Todd the assistant
Deputy.
Deputy.
fire warden.
Second.
all right, any discussion? Motion's been made and seconded to appoint, or go through the process of appointing, let's do a friendly amendment, Todd Capen as, deputy fire warden. Cause that'll be a needed approval from the state.
Which I have that paperwork from, that
Yes.
Ray was supposed to have you guys sign back in July.
I'm assuming you probably have.
They even gave us an envelope to send it back.
No, I
But
haven't,
is
I
it the
haven't even
same,
seen it,
is
so
it
go
gonna be
ahead.
the same? Is that paperwork, that's not
It's.
valid
it's-
anymore, is it?
Yes, it's of JJ because Ray had it and, we appointed JJ, we just didn't get the paperwork back.
I had my meetings and everything with the state.
This is to appoint him as.
As deputy.
Yeah, but now we're gonna go with,
Right, that's why I wondered if you would sign it, cause this is appointing him as deputy and you've just appointed him as, we're gonna need new paperwork from the state, I think.
Yes,
I think so.
very well, for now.
Let's get him there anyway.
And I can make that phone call tomorrow as well.
Yes, yes, you can, she will, write him as well.
Look at that, you got an overnight promotion.
Yeah.
There you go.
You will get this in the mail pronto, or do you want Katrina to get it in the mail pronto
Trying
for
to
you?
handle it.
Yeah, I need a copy of it anyways.
Yeah, like I said, it should be a stamped envelope and addressed already in there.
Okay, I need a motion to sign that.
I make a motion to sign that.
Second.
Sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now it's legal. Legal eagle. Okay, anything else, JJ, that you'd like to report to us?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
It's gonna be definitely a different, the way it's gonna be handled is gonna be a little bit different, than in the past. We'll probably definitely be going out and doing site visits to the places that
Oh
you'll
boy,
ask
I'm
for
in
burn
trouble with
permits.
that big pile out back.
But you said you wouldn't burn because there's critters in it.
No, I'm not burning it.
I'll come over.
That was one of the things that was brought up during my meeting with the state. Is they're actually supposed to go out and check the burns before they start. You know, people could, like you said, people can wait until we come and check it.
Oh, absolutely.
But it'll be on a
Okay.
case-by-case basis. So,
Well, it's gonna be an interesting time, and welcome aboard.
thank you.
We appreciate your offer and you stepping up to do that. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you. All right, thank you for coming. Okay, now we'll go back to articles. All right, I would like to bring something up because, Friday I had a meeting with, Brattleboro EOC. And because as of, June 30th, Entergy will not, I mean, Vernon may be a different subject, we're not sure yet, but probably no different. But, there will be no, Entergy, grant, Vermont, state grant or Entergy supplying any monies for the continuance of emergency management. So I'm wondering if maybe you would like to put an article in here to see if the town would be willing to maybe support it in some way. I wouldn't gain anything because I am not going to be EMD after June 30th, but I just can't do it anymore. So it would be somebody new if the town chose to keep it, and I think there probably might be two articles. Whether to keep and maintain emergency management, and it may be in one article, I don't know. But the next article would be an amount to be raised. I wouldn't dare say what the state and Entergy has supplied for however many years, I don't know. I've only been EMD for almost a year now. No, almost.
2 years.
Almost, yeah, going on to the second year. And the amount that was supplied, I think was, I think it's 29,000. Yeah.
For the whole program, or?
Yes, it's 20,000 for the EMD. It's a few I think it's about 1,500 for a rat officer. However, we're not gonna have although I've asked Brattleboro if the town of Vernon can keep their dosimeters and the lanyard things, because we still will have, if the town wants emergency management, because we will still have dry cask storage and stuff like that. So maybe for a while we can keep that. We also do not have a building. I do believe the tax committee, and I'm not sure if Patty could speak on that, may be working out a deal that they would give us that building that we have now. And then the rest is for supplies that you need for drills and things like that. But we still have VY here, we still have the threat of whatever. But mainly what we're gonna start working on in January, and the select board's gonna have to be involved, whether they've never wanted to be involved before or not, because we're gonna start all hazard training. So, I don't know, it's up to the board. Do you think we need to put an article in? Do we wanna continue with emergency management, or rely on our fire departments and police departments? If you wanna speak, you come up there and wait till the board, is, through discussing.
What's the minimum amount that we'd have to,
Yeah.
expend as a town to have a functional department?
I would say, why not, 15 or 20,000, I wouldn't go all the way up, there's no reason. I mean, I took out of mine to give to the others because I appreciate what they do, so that I had enough money.
So if we
But-
have an article for 15,000,
At least maintain it. And, it'll be for, the supplies that they need, it'd be for batteries, it would be for, if you wanna give the EMD, money, a small stipend, whatever, that they could do with what they want with it, that's what I do with mine. And, I think that'd be, generous. They can pay themselves, their people if they want to, and get some supplies and stuff what they need. I'm going to try to use up the money, all that I can this year, and really get that thing built up good, because, we have one computer that's pretty old, and that's a PC. Then we have one laptop that's about 3 to 4 years old. So I'm going to buy another laptop so that we have a newer model. Cause we're on disaster land and that kind of thing. So, we have, and Vermont State Alert we're on. And that's how they alert us, is through that. So, so what do you think, we add an article or two maybe? Because the question would be whether the town wants to maintain the emergency management or not.
So is the town has never, taxpayers have never paid for that? If you guys
It's always been Entergy and comes through the state of Vermont,
Oh,
the
okay.
state grant.
The state.
Entergy pays it.
Right, yeah.
just raise their taxes by 15,000.
There you go. JJ, if you wanna speak.
No, she can.
I was just wondering if you did any checking into towns at the other towns in the state, because every town has an emergency management director. The only towns that get paid were the towns that were in the EPZ, because there was so much preparation and work with the drills and the testing and everything else that went on. That's why they were paid. And also, disaster land, isn't that just radiological?
No.
That is all
hazards.
disasters, okay. So, I think before, because the question's gonna be asked when you go in front of town meeting,
I'm
what
gonna
do the
call
other
upon you.
towns do? I don't know what the other towns do, I
No,
only.
no, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm gonna call on you to speak for me. You-
But it would help to know what other towns that are not
No.
part of the EPZ do,
Yeah,
cause that question will be asked.
well, I think that, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I know, and I've
All I
said it
know
a
is
million
what the
times.
EPZ
The towns that are in
do.
the EPZ are much more prepared for any kind of disaster that could ever happen, and we saw
Exactly
that
what
during
the
the
state
ice
said
storm
Friday morning.
up north. They fell apart because they weren't as prepared as we are, but the question will come out, how do other towns handle their emergency management directors, so.
Mhm. Yep,
Should know
good
that.
question, thank you. JJ?
The two questions I have is, have you guys spoke any more with Entergy about sustaining emergency management in town since the plant is still here, the casting is still here?
You have not.
I mean-
That's, as of June 30th, they're going out, go ahead.
I'm trying to think of how I can say this. We have had some of those kinds of discussions, as part of the tax committee.
Right.
Future
I can't speak on that.
future costs and stuff like that. There have been absolutely no decisions made, but that conversation has come up.
That's it?
That's it.
Yeah, I think if it's not something that's been a part of our budget before, or, you know, or an article or whatever, then I would say
Well,
and it also just dawned on me that we'll have to either include maybe in the emergency management department, or in the budget too, the maintenance of the sirens that we agreed to.
Right, that, yes, and I don't have that figure with me, but I think it was $200 and something
I was
a
thinking
year.
$275
$275
per
a year.
siren,
Per
right?
siren,
siren.
plus there's, travel time.
And the batteries were, the
the
275 was a yearly, or twice a year, and then the batteries were every more or less frequently or something like that, I don't. And those were, I think,
So what was it, 825 total?
And I would say unless we had an EMD of some sort that was gonna be testing those on a regular basis, or some,
Well, I will continue if we don't have anybody, but I'm saying that I think that you will have somebody, because I know somebody that is willing to do this, so.
okay.
But that's at a later date, and let's, you know, we can worry about that at another time.
Well, I guess what I'm
I
saying
wouldn't
is
drop
if we
it
don't
and just leave
continue-
nobody.
I guess if we don't continue some form of emergency management within town, then the sirens are fairly useless.
Right, the thing is that, you're right, and besides that, you have to know, even if we didn't have an EMD, the chairman of the select board is IP1, they are the person that would take over. So, I mean, I would be here, I don't know who's gonna be chairman, but I would help the chairman or whatever, yeah.
I would say we should have one, I don't know who would pay for it, if indeed the town at some point is the site for a gas power plant, I think I would hate to have us not have an EMD and then have to create the position somehow. And also, at that time, if there is a gas power plant, there probably negotiations for who pays for it would have to happen as part of the whole
Absolutely,
thing.
but that won't happen for a few years, but yes.
If it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just would say, let's keep it going.
I think that probably is under consideration with the plan we did, yeah. Last one, we're moving on.
That's fine. If you're holding on to the sirens and you no longer have the building, have you guys put the expense of where you're gonna put the switches and everything and transfer over to where they're gonna go?
Of course, we haven't thought of that,
There's still.
but we thought maybe, you know, we did discuss a little bit, and we thought of your house, maybe, if you didn't mind.
My housekeeper would take care of it well.
I'm sure it would probably be, you know, the fire chief would be asked to come in and, you know. I'm so sorry. I can't help myself, I'm sorry, JJ. So,
Yeah, I don't know if it needs to be 1 or 2 articles, or.
I think it may need to be 2 articles. First, you have to determine whether they wanna keep it, and then you have to determine whether they wanna, it could be, yeah, it could be 1. I'll call, I'll get with the, or have Katrina get with, the town clerk, or BLCT, and see if we need 2 articles or just 1. But 1 article, if we need 2, 1 article would be, to see if the town would like to continue with emergency management. And it may be able to say, if so, you know, continue on with an amount. You all said 15,000, correct?
That was what you felt was the minimum amount we had to spend to have an effective.
Well, I think they could be run on that. I think that,
I wasn't in the room, I was too busy dying out in the hallway.
yes, you okay? Would you-
I'm much better now, thank you.
Here, you want one of those?
Yeah, that'll help a lot.
It will. Soothes the stomach, the spearmint, you know?
Can you repeat for me what the breakdown was? You said 20s for the EMD.
20 for the EMD,
And
then
by
we had
EMD,
RAD
you mean the
officer,
emergency
and then
management
we had,
director, because I'm not familiar with all the
okay, emergency management,
director.
director
Okay.
was 20,000.
Okay.
1,500 was for RAD officer,
Okay.
because they have to maintain the dosimeters, they have to keep that updated and make sure that everybody's got their names and, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
reading it and all that stuff. And then the other amount was for, supplies.
Pager.
Yeah, oh yes, that's right, Pager got money too, they got, I don't even remember how much, but I think it's about 1,500 maybe a year as well, I think it is. They get pager money, for just, you know, being alerted, whatever. And then, and that's it for people that gets paid. The rest is for, supplies and drills and stuff like that, it's for like, you know, food, when we have drills. We may not have drills, but I would like to see that before I leave, because we're gonna have, Mr. Emery, David Emery and, Glenn Herron back down in January on the, and by the way, all my people, we're gonna have, our meeting will be on, or our training session will be on the, 21st or 22nd of January. What's January, I wish Trent would get us a new calendar.
I would like you to know, I sent 3 over here, I don't know where yours is.
Oh, boy. Somebody's messed up, but anyway, it's the Thursday, the fourth Thursday, is it fourth or third
Do you have
Thursday?
a continuation on there? Oh, the super tiny down
You'll
there.
send an email to everybody.
No, that's that's 15, I don't have a 16.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yeah, I will. So, they're gonna come down for training and stuff like that, but, so they get, I don't have to pay David and them, but, you know, I supply little snacks and stuff like that for everybody, that comes out of there,
Not
our
lobster or
papers.
anything.
No, but we had shortcake one night y'all missed. Who got it? No, you missed it.
I missed it.
Oh,
I missed it too.
I was
Oh.
there.
Yeah, it was good too. I have to admit that.
Oh, I was there that night.
Yes. I'm apt to cook, yes,
Okay.
sometimes.
Okay, so
But
yeah,
yeah, it's
so I think-
supplies,
okay.
it's a copier, I can't even think, you know, right now, but yeah, copier, supplies, radios, things like that, batteries, lots of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So the
think-
article should include that 15,000.
So one article, and see if we can put it all in one article, okay?
Please.
Please? I think 15,000 would be fine.
Okay.
It is 2? Okay, 2. And then one to raise and appropriate 15,000.
Right.
And then would it become part of the budget after that, or?
No, it's an appropriation, unless you want to establish a fund, but I don't think so. We would get that, it would have to be used in a year's time, so. And we can figure out what the EMD would be paid and the breakdown of it, I would say 10 and then 5 for supplies. And within the supplies is the siren maintenance. Okay, so let's go from there. School district, we don't have to do. Okay, cemetery plots is up. We're moving right along here with my alms. You just love the way I talk? No. My mind is not young anymore. Move along.
You.
No, she was doing that in the other school.
Speak to you later.
I know. I'm sure.
So we have 2 articles.
2?
want some money to repair some stones.
Oh, good.
And then,
Why can't you take out of the, funds to repair the stones? I don't get
because it's
that.
interest that's supposed to be used.
Yes, I know. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
No,
There, Madam Chairman?
no.
Well, then too bad.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Now, what cemetery is this?
Multiple cemeteries,
It is.
All of them?
all of them, pretty much. A little bit here and a little bit there. We got some of those ones that are sunken that have to be up and we found another couple that have fallen over, down at Tyler. That's kinda costly to upright those and put bases under them. There's one down a Woodhead that's broken off. That happened this late in the year.
Wow.
So. And we'll use some of our funds to do it too, because the 5,000 won't cover it, but we're trying not to be greedy.
Thank you.
Yeah. To see if the town will vote to increase the price of cemetery lots, and if so, by how much?
Okay, so we talked about this and we had two suggestions.
Okay.
The first is to just leave the lot price as is at $150 a lot. And then ask the person buying, $150 for we're just talking resident price. And then ask them to write a second check to be written to Abbiati's for $200 for the cornerstones.
But what if they don't wanna use Abbiati? What if they wanna use somebody else?
That's where we've been ordering cornerstones from.
Okay.
So, I don't know where else they'd be getting them from. I mean, that's been done through the town clerk's
Yeah.
office. They don't, they just come in, they buy the lot, the corn, and it's done, and it's taken care of.
Yeah.
So they would write that second check to Abbiati, and then town clerk's office would just order them, send the check along with that order. We would then keep that whole $150, as opposed to now, if you're buying one lot, we're losing $50 on
And
buying
not
it.
getting anything.
And not getting anything, we're losing
Right.
money, we're
Right.
losing $50.
Yeah.
The second would be raising the lot price to $350, and then the town, the clerk would have to deposit that money and then write a check for those funds to Abbiati. In order the stones.
Yeah.
In order the cornerstones. And non-resident price would follow suit. They would do the same thing with a non-resident price.
What is the non-resident
It's
price
$300.
currently?
Plus
So-
200, so it's
plus-
500 total.
It would be
Oh,
five.
would be 500.
That would be
It
the
would be
proposed would be 500.
300, 200.
I don't know, I almost think, so in the article, it would be, if we choose one of these options, right? It would say something like, I'm gonna pick 2 and 3 only just for the moment.
I mean, it would in either case, it would be raising it to $350, it's just depending on the
I think-
procedure you wanna.
I think the simpler way is to just say $350 and let the, I would say $350 for, God bless you, for residents,
Sorry, you moved it to me.
and up to 500 for non-residents.
I've got a
Go ahead, please.
I'm
sorry.
I'm in agreement that we just raise the price, because I think if we leave it at the cost of, if we make residents write 2 checks, they might go, I don't want the cornerstones. And then that's one of the ways that we're identifying the lots that have been sold is by the cornerstones. And if people say, well, I don't wanna buy the cornerstones, it makes it difficult to then try to
Right.
track what's been sold and what's
Right.
been taken and what's not, so.
I mean, that was a suggestion
Yeah.
that came from
Yeah.
I think it'd be simpler to do that. And, so it would be, to increase the price of cemetery lots, to, $350 for residents and, $500 for non-residents. That's how it would be worded. That sound good to everybody?
I agree on raising the lot prices. It's the simplest thing, again, is to make one check instead of two.
Right.
However, what would be the process if Addy Monument starts charging more for cornerstones, more than $200? Then the town would have to go and vote to increase.
We'd have to increase again, but we're not gonna be in the same circumstance we are now, where the cornerstones have been 200 for quite some time, and our prices haven't gone up. That was one of the questions I did ask them before we did this. Do they anticipate an increase? And they said no. That's been this way for quite some time, and they don't anticipate it changing.
Can we change the language with that same mentality? Can we change the language to $150 plus the cost of cornerstones? And
I wouldn't do that. I would say $350, that's what it's gonna cost them for a cemetery lot now.
Okay.
And then when
It
they
just
ask,
means that if
include
they
their
do,
cornerstone.
if it does go up to $250, then we don't have to bring it back again, because the cost of the cornerstones.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I think that's a good idea, but I think that
we could provide
to leave
proof
it
of, what the cost is, so that people aren't afraid that we're
It doesn't cost
charging.
us anything to bring an article to this town, and if
Right.
they're not going to,
And it would give us a little time to do
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
before we start losing money again.
Well, but the whole, yeah.
You raise the price too much, people wanna get buried in their own backyard.
Yeah.
well, I'm coming
Cheap
down to
fence.
your backyard, that's where I'm gonna be buried.
You could buy a
I'm
10
afraid
by-
I'm gonna be buried somewhere else.
Buy a 10 by
Under
10
that
for
tree.
$300.
Under that tree,
Under that
yes.
pile you got going.
Yeah, yes, right along with the birds.
The Pyre pile, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing anything with it, nobody else is either. It's a resident for birds.
I don't know, I don't know how many years we've been losing,
A lot.
how many years we've been losing money on this. Marylyn's saying it's a lot. Well, it didn't cost anything to bring an article up, but it didn't happen.
Well,
And
I
so-
think, yeah, but I think Marylynn had tried a couple of times, and I think that, and I'm gonna send anybody under the bus, I just think that we've just either just forgot it or something happened, I don't know, but she has
Right, but
been.
in prevention of that happening, if the cost goes up, if we word it, $150 plus the cost of cornerstones, then you don't have to do an article, and whenever the cost goes up, the price goes up. And, we can, I'm sure Abby Addies provides us probably an invoice of the cost of those invoices, so that we can
Yep.
provide it to the townspeople, say, well, the cost is now $225 or $250, so it's not what
Yeah, but
we
then,
voted on it.
I know, but then you're going right back to the,
I don't want that.
I don't want the cornerstones. If you even mention the cornerstones, they may be saying no.
Well, then they don't buy it.
It's part of the price of the lot.
Yeah, that's how we sell them.
If you want a lot,
It's
you gotta
not like
get
you
some
can go to a
cornerstones.
restaurant, well, that's a bad analogy, I'm
See,
horrible
yeah,
with
don't-
that.
don't do
I was
that.
gonna
Don't go
say, I
there.
can't say I don't want the french fries, but you can, so, but you know what I mean? Or you can't go to a car dealer and say, I wanna buy a new car, but I don't want the spare tire.
There's no
You're still gonna pay
substitution
for it,
of
they'll take it
size.
out, but, yeah. That's my opinion.
So what do you think, board?
Do you wanna, we don't have cornerstones are required anywhere in the regulations. Do you wanna add that in here too?
That's not a bad idea.
It's written in the deeds.
Yeah, but just as a safeguard? I know it's in the deeds, but
And
just as
clearly
a
outlined.
safeguard?
Some people don't read everything they should.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're probably more,
But whether you read it or not, it's not,
I think that's a good idea.
I mean, we have
Marilyn.
grave liners, they can be added in grave liners of, I'm not sure if that's the right place.
Somewhere, but I think that's a good idea.
well, when you're talking about the placement, with the support liners, no,
Yep,
is
that's
that
where I
the-
was, grave liners of concrete, slate, or steel must be used to enclose coffins, cornerstones must be
I mean, you could even say required flat markers.
Corner markers.
or, yeah,
Yeah.
cornerstone or whatever. But, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think redundancy is a bad thing. And this is more like plain
Because
language,
deeds are
whereas I
pretty-
don't know how, you know, the
Yeah,
wording of
deeds are
deeds
pretty
are
long
often
and
very
who
legal
reads your
and
deed?
wordy,
You have a
which,
problem.
and
Yeah,
that's more
I
plain
agree.
understandable English.
shove it in there somewhere.
And then this, then,
Get
Do
this
we
done.
need to re-vote on that,
yeah, and you make
on
amendments,
accepting those?
I guess.
Yeah.
So then, Emily's verbiage would work.
Sounds good then. Go ahead and make the motion
Am I making a motion to amend the,
to add that to the,
yeah, so
yeah.
moved.
Did you get the motion? No? I didn't either. It was just a so moved.
Yeah,
A motion to amend
Amend.
the rules and regulations
To
to, cemetery
include-
rules and regulations to include the,
Corner lot.
the cost of the
Cornerstones.
cornerstones, or the
Requirement.
requirement of the cornerstones.
Yep.
Okay, so then.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who seconded?
Josh.
I did.
Josh, thank you.
Okay, so then her verbiage for,
Would be okay.
would be okay.
Yep.
The lot price plus cost of cornerstones.
Yep. I think the point
Yeah.
was to raise the amount, not,
Amount, but
not so much to
I
get
hate
the.
to make this complicated, but do you realize if somebody buys 2 lots, 4 lots, they put cornerstones on 4, not on every single one?
Right.
So don't you have to sort of distinguish that? You say
Yeah, I think
cornerstones
that,
are
I
required.
thought that the 350 raising of that was to build up the funds or whatever, the amount of money be.
I mean, the 150, my
Because it
thought
wasn't
was
enough.
for us
Oh,
to
right.
get, my thought was for us to keep that 150.
And we're
Which
not
would
going
be-
to if we're, if.
We
they-
would,
Not
we
if
would, the 150, we would keep that whole 150.
Oh, yeah, because it would be 150 per, if they bought 4, it would be 150 per.
And we
correct?
would keep, we
And
would
then just
keep that
four.
whole 150 per however many
Yeah, okay.
lots they bought.
Mhm, yeah.
And they're only gonna get 4 cornerstones.
I'm more talking about
So-
the language
Yeah.
in the regulation,
Oh.
because if you say cornerstones required, what are you saying? Are you saying for every single lot, or are
No.
you saying?
Cornerstones would go
Corner
for,
on the corners.
on the 4 corners,
On the 4
whether you
corners.
bought 1 lot or you bought 4 lots.
Well, then
It would
you're
still
gonna
be
have
4
to, like
corners.
she's saying, you're gonna have to put that in the verbiage. Because if you put that in there, that cornerstones are required, they're gonna think that cornerstones are required per lot, I think.
And the other thing, do you know that cornerstones aren't, right now, they're not able to get them? I ordered like 10 sets of them 6 months ago, and I was told that the quarry's having a hard time cutting them or finding the right places to cut them, so they're not sure how available they're going to be.
Oh, great.
They're leftover, what did she tell us, Janet, about corners? They're,
Yeah.
they're leftover pieces
Pieces from monuments, from all sorts of different things. that
from
they've pressed
monuments. So it depends on how they're cutting.
Yeah.
They have the
Right.
stuff, it just depends on how they're cutting. And
They
and
said, they told me
everybody's,
they're like 2 years out right now, so I'm
And
just saying, you
everybody's-
might wanna say markers and not stones, cause there's other kinds of markers, and maybe we might have to change to something else. I don't know.
The price is going up above 200 then.
so we can ask for corner markers, I guess.
Corner, stones / markers. There you go, you got them both covered. All right,
But corner markers, I mean, corner markers, I'm looking as a lot, is whether you have 1 grave
right,
or 6 graves.
Still
yeah,
four
that's
corners.
what she said,
That's-
you know, then, yeah,
So we would, you know, whether you bought 1 lot or you bought 5 lots, that
Right, yeah.
150 stays
Right.
with the town
You
in
got it.
that fund.
Yep.
So it would be building it back up,
all right,
because you're paying the extra 200 for the markers separately.
yeah, so that wordage would work in the article. Did you get that down okay, Katrina, sorry about that.
That makes sense.
All right, we didn't have time enough to look these over. Are you in agreement with these? do you
Well,
want
they
to?
gotta still be, I mean, they have to be.
I'm not
looked
gonna
over by
accept
the
him right now, but
attorney.
thank you.
I was gonna say, I found a
Um,
typo already.
Yeah, no, there's, yeah, no, I didn't mean to accept them now, because we're gonna have to look at them again, but, as far as it stands now, are we okay with them, or I'm just trying to move on, that's all what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Are you dismissing?
And you're, huh?
Are you dismissing me, is that what you're doing?
Yes, kinda, sorry, thank you, Marylynn.
I haven't filled in the library's, article yet, I haven't filled in their budget article, I haven't
Thank you,
filled in.
Marylynn.
I haven't filled in the, town's budget article yet, the totals and
No,
those.
cause that won't come.
And I still don't have, although I might have just misplaced it somewhere, I still don't have the 3 installment dates for the taxes. But I did get, and we still are receiving petitions for
Yep.
services.
Is there 2 articles, where's the tax one? Are there 2 articles to receive taxes 3 times?
2 articles?
Yeah, because first you gotta ask the voters if they wanna go from 2 to 3.
Oh, no, I didn't get that.
Yeah, you have to ask them first, and then another article, if they've agreed with it, then the other article will have the dates on it, otherwise, they have to, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What
Are the
about,
articles in an order for a certain reason?
No,
No,
May I make a suggestion
you go right ahead.
that we do the articles by, I don't know how to really say it, by dollar figure? If, we're
No.
looking at a $200,000 article is pushed at the end of
Yeah.
town meeting.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And
That's why we
people
do,
are
yeah,
They're
I
not
done.
focused at the end of town meeting
I
because I've
agree.
been there.
I agree. The thing, that's why we do we changed it, for the, select board budget to be, first, second, or third article, so that people are
Yeah, that's what
at the
I'm
beginning
saying,
of it.
there's some fairly large line items that are sitting at the back of.
Do you want the most people there to,
yeah.
Absolutely,
The
and
first
not
night
tired.
To be at the
right.
first night, so
So the
we get the
school-
maximum amount of
or
people.
so the town's budget would be next after the Vernon School District authorized the town school board to
Yeah.
borrow money,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Exactly.
And then, any article that's, above 100,000?
I would
Well,
think,
Well, it would be
Just
the
go
next,
descending
Yeah.
value.
right, it's gonna
Descending
descend value.
value.
Do the, town,
Yeah,
town road and then professional
Yeah.
services.
Yep.
And Cusick scholarship looks like, and there's 2 for 20,000. Library would be in there somewhere.
now I have to cough, thank you.
sorry.
We also talked about an article, to, I think, be able to distribute the town report by means other than snail mail.
We did talk about that.
Cause there was an article 2 or 3 years ago that
Yes.
failed and,
Can't really use the same article because we no longer have town auditors and there is a statutory requirement when you do not have town auditors on how you have to distribute. And it is here. This
Have
is
you
down,
spelled this?
yep.
you're amazingly good, oh, can I have one for, sorry, one for Ceci?
And see, we don't need a, administrator.
No, I was just trying to say, you're amazingly good at your job.
No, I have a lot
That
of
was a
help,
plug.
trust me, this comes from a lot of help. It's teamwork.
Absolutely.
And we'll have to pay attention to this too for when we do talk about the town report more, what has to be included.
Where does it say it has to go?
Well, 5B says if a town is voted to eliminate the office of auditor, the findings of the public accountant employed in accordance with Section 2651B of Title 17 shall be mailed or otherwise distributed by the select board in the same manner that findings are required to be distributed by auditors. So I hadn't really forgotten about, I didn't forget about it on the listing, I'm just not quite sure what the verbiage would be. Well, let's see if I can find the article.
It just says mailed or otherwise distributed, doesn't say that it has to be mailed.
I don't remember when.
Dear Lord. But I do remember reading somewhere where the statute did say that, it had to be mailed.
It said, well, on here, it says, upon request, the auditor shall mail or distribute a copy of the full report to a voter or resident of the town, but it says upon request.
Right.
But we, what did we remembered that
I know, but I remember.
because an article was done at one year that it had to be mailed,
That's
that's why
right.
we have to mail it to
That's
every
right.
resident.
Thank you very
But-
much.
but
Len
then-
Howard tried to. Len Howard did
And
that.
I'm trying to
Yep,
find the article.
I
think
that article.
in, I'm trying to do the
Well,
minutes from.
he was no longer a
2008.
select board member in 2012, 13.
It's 2008, wasn't it, that he made that? I thought I found it in
No,
my
cause he
reports, and
wasn't
I
on the
only got
board then,
last two.
but he was in 2009 and he was in 2010.
Maybe it's. But he did it when he was not on the board?
No, he did it while he was on the board.
While he was on the board, okay. I think I found it in the minutes.
Carol Hammond sent it all to us.
Yep, it's all there. Maybe it was in the meeting.
Go ahead.
A couple of years ago, I read, I think in the Reformer, that there are some towns like Manchester or Dover that were not mailing it out. And so it's not a state statute, so it must be.
No.
Yeah. 2010.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It was a motion,
It
an
was.
article at town meeting voted by the people.
Leonard Howard III made the motion that the town authorize the town report to be distributed by hand, email, posted on the website, and or mailed instead of being mailed to every household prior to the annual town meeting. After much discussion, the motion was defeated on a vote of 53 to the negative and 27 to the affirmative. So then it had to remain.
It has to be.
It had to remain as being mailed.
Right.
As mailed.
So, so it sounds like we can make a motion, shall the voters of, you know, you
We could
change
make
the
that,
wording
we
to
could make that same
represent it,
motion.
yeah, to make it available. Well, it would have to be,
The verbiage could be the same.
well, it can't say website because the official, the
No,
unofficial
just
website can't do
remove
it.
that.
I mean, we could even just change it back to be mailed upon request, but then you're gonna deal with,
Well, they'll say websites say available online.
but it may not always be available online, you know what I mean? Like if
Should
the-
be, should be.
Well, but what if Martin decides to not keep that up, you know what I mean, like,
Say
because
available for pickup at the town clerk's office.
yeah, or I mean, even if we just rescinded the, well, I guess
No, you can't
rescinding,
rescind
not
it.
rescinding's not
No,
the right
you
word,
can't,
but
right.
but if you go back to the state statute, which says, you know, upon request, I think, I don't know what the,
All right, so at a duly warned annual or special meeting, the voters of the town may vote to provide notice of the availability of the, in this case, it's talking about the auditor's report, which has to be part of the town report, sorry, it could be one and the same. To the voters of the town in lieu of mailing or otherwise distributing the report itself. If the voters of the town vote to provide notice of availability, they must specify how notice of availability shall be given, and in such notice of availability shall be provided to the voters of the town at least 30 days before the annual meeting. And then upon request, the auditors, well, or the town shall mail or distribute a copy of the full report to a voter or resident of the town.
I don't mind driving door to door.
To write
Well,
on
I
the
don't, I mean,
No, I used to with the radios, I mean,
well, I think, you know, I mean, if we make it known, in whatever formats we have, that the town reports are available, and these are your options, you know, whether it's come to the town clerk's office and pick up a hard copy, request that it be mailed to you. If there's a website up and running, it can be on that website and you can go there. You can have it emailed to you, you know, but the important piece is that we back out of having to mail it to every resident or to every household. That's the important piece, and I'm not sure how to.
Well, we can write it
well,
up, and
this
if
year
we-
it has to be mailed out.
Yes.
Right.
Next year.
Right, it will be,
I
this
would
be
use the
for-
same verbiage, except take that website out, you can't use the website.
Right.
Or use website if available,
Right,
right,
that
like
would
you
be.
say, that would be a good thing, and then, yeah.
I mean, if we ever end up with an official town website in the future, if that ever happens, you know.
It depends on whether committees,
Right, no, I
get on
know,
board
yeah, but
with their minutes
I
and
don't wanna
stuff.
say, I don't wanna put it in writing that it will be available online, you know, on a website if the website doesn't appear. Now, all of a sudden, we're required to, you know, report it on a website.
Yeah.
Facebook doesn't count.
But we'll post it there. So that'd be an addition to these.
Right.
We're gonna be there for 3 nights instead of 2.
Don't say stuff like that.
We already did that once.
Yeah, we did, and we also used to have like 30, 40 articles, so
Yeah, we used to have
quite a few.
80 people and not,
Yeah.
what did we have? We've had like
400?
400 last couple of years.
Yep.
So some of your new articles is the establishment of a culvert fund, and then the appropriation of 10,000 into that culvert fund. I did verify that the 2,500 is the amount that David is asking for the parking lots maintenance fund. I did verify the library trustees with
And that's
the
only to
library.
keep money pouring into that fund, because there is a
'Cause there are
lot of
expenses
money in
going
there. Town parking lots fund.
But, I mean, if you don't need $2,500,
Why put it
why
there?
even?
Exactly.
I can ask him for
Yeah.
the justification
Didn't
on
he
that.
have
No,
a
we
reason?
can decide,
He
he
had a reason.
already wants it, we can say no or yes.
Well, if he has a good reason, sure, but if
Right.
No,
it's
that's-
like, you just wanna keep
what did he
money
tell
going
you?
into it.
He said he just wanted to keep
It was-
money going in there.
Yeah, it was to continue to build the fund, so it was
Yeah, so it would,
at the point of
Right.
being able to use it when the time came.
Was it because all of our town properties, I think, have all been repaved? I mean, the fire department, this building, the pool,
how much?
they've all been done. So I think it was, instead of waiting 10 years, you know, like for, well, I don't know that they applies to the capital plan, but, you know, instead of waiting until we're 10 years out of having to do all of them all over again and raising $50,000 a year or.
But how much is in there? How much is in the fund? I don't have my book with me. I grabbed the wrong, or tote, whatever you wanna call it.
I think it was to kind of space it out so that instead of trying to
Yeah, I get
cram
that, yeah, that would make good sense.
Town
For
parking
sure.
lot maintenance fund. As of 2014, there was $62,000.
Okay, and
then
2014,
It cost, so in fiscal year 2014, that was when they did the town highway garage.
I know, but there was money put in there last
Well,
year as
yeah,
an
that's
article,
true.
so how much was that? 25,000, I think? I don't know.
Get to the, I'll only be able to report what the article was.
Right.
Cause I probably didn't write down whether we changed it or not, but.
No, they didn't.
They didn't change it.
Oh, is this the town road upgrading?
Town parking lots,
Town parking lots, okay.
maintenance fund.
I don't see town parking lot. I don't see a parking lot.
Did he put one in last year? He did, didn't
He did the town road upgrade. Other assistance, by petition, capital plan, that's capital plan, town road upgrading, professional services, reappraisal. I don't see parking lot done last year.
Yeah, second.
I could have sworn he did.
Even though they don't like you and Dan,
And I would have laid money on it, bet money on it, for 25,000. But, you know, that's,
pretty soon you'll be on that list. I already am.
Tell me when you're ready to switch
I don't
page.
care.
no, I don't see it either.
It's called a clerk. Theirs or ours?
Oh, there you go.
I think that may have been his
Maybe the year
rationale,
before.
was to spread it out over the next 30 years instead of having to do it in 10 or whatever.
That's kind of what I meant. I knew he had a place for it to go, and he's taking it little chunks at a time.
Well, then we leave
Instead
it
of
in or we
coming
take
to
it
us
out?
Or was it-
5 years down the road and saying, I need 30 grand.
Or was it because he'd been doing more of the crack sealing and stuff, and that's what the 2,500 was more for, was for, like, that being the expenses to the fund every
Katrina
year?
talked to him. It
I
was
did, but I-
just to keep the fund going,
I
correct?
think that that's what he
Yeah.
had said,
I remember that email.
yeah.
It was just to populate the fund, so
Right.
when the next round came, there was money there, and he wasn't going to the town for, $50,000, $100,000.
Well, that makes sense. Leave it?
I guess so.
Yeah, I'd rather
Yeah.
take advantage of interest and.
But, I mean, it'd be a long time before they need to be repaid again.
Absolutely, if ever.
If ever.
Don't forget, DUI is going out, not in. All right. What other ones, Katrina, was questionable?
Like I said, we're still receiving petitions in for the
Yeah.
other ones.
Did we wanna
We didn't-
continue to fund, the CUSIC?
That was a question that came up last year, whether you guys wanted to continue to fund that.
And everybody said yes.
And everybody said to put it to the voters.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I mean, I, if I bring these up, please, people, do not think that because I don't want them, I'm just, we've got to go over them.
I'm not bashful, I'd be in the minority by far, but I don't think we even should put that article in.
But the, James
You
CUSIC.
say, yeah.
And then
If we're gonna discuss that, I'm going to leave. I have a junior in high school.
Oh,
I'm in the same line of thinking, and I have 3 girls that'll eventually go to college probably, but it's, it's a rare thing to have available to you in any town. It's a wonderful thing to have, but times are changing.
I know, I got a 10-year-old, but I just don't think that the money's not there to continue it.
it won't be,
No.
for sure.
Yeah, I think we've.
I don't
put it
mind
to
bringing it
voters.
to the town, but I mean, it's not something I'll support personally, that's for sure.
Yeah, I probably won't either. But then again, I hate to say no because, I did have a granddaughter that,
I was a beneficiary of the same fund.
were you?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a young buck, aren't you?
You too?
I did too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you were a better return on investment than I was, for the town, I mean.
Not really.
I bet your taxes are higher than mine.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit, but
Exactly.
doesn't
All right,
matter.
so we bring it to the voters, yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's, you know, it's up to the town whether they wanna keep funding
Yeah.
that.
I mean, well,
Yeah, well, we may know something by town meeting so that we can at least tell the people, you know, about the tax.
Yeah, that's fine.
David did not put an article in last year for parking lot.
Okay, fine, yeah, we couldn't find one.
Okay, I just didn't, I did,
It was
I
the
went
year
back to the,
before.
I went back to the
which
warning
would
and
make
looked.
sense, because if in 2014, there was, what did I say, like $62,000
Yeah.
left? And then this building was done this year, and was the fire department done this year too? Yeah, so, I mean, that would essentially
That's right.
deplete
them
the
out, yeah.
fund, which would make sense of why he wants to only put
Rebuild.
the, 2,500 in, so.
Okay. Then town road upgrading is 100,000. We were putting 80, now why are we asking for 100? Is there a reason?
He asked for 100,000 last year.
I know, but we were putting 80, it was 80, 80, 80,
But
and then.
I thought he put a note, I thought I remembered seeing a note for doing another
Something
portion
about
of
Pond Road, yeah.
Doing another port of like the skimming and top coat, like
And
what they
it
did
probably is
was-
a good idea, because he is surveying the West, Sac Road now, and that'll be, up pretty soon for, if they're gonna pave that, I don't know, I know they're gonna rebuild it, so. And it is an up,
And then,
up,
Hemlock too.
town road upgrading fund, it's not, just asphalt, so.
Right.
Right.
And then, but yeah, Hemlock too, Hemlock Road up on Huckle, or up on Huckle Hill, they were in the
Hemlock
process.
did all of their culverts, I think, this year,
Yeah.
with the intention of being tested for next year.
Yep.
Yep, that's why he started a culvert fund, I think. Yep.
And then the reappraisal fund, Carol could speak to that at the next meeting, whether or not
Yes.
5,000 needs to go into there.
Yes, she is going to, she said she would, and, yeah, because she has, a different idea of maybe not having to have a reappraisal. Cause she knows the figures, I mean, I could sit here and try to explain it, but you know me and my explaining.
She'll be here
And
next,
I'll get
next
there in
meeting
about an
anyway.
hour. Huh?
She'll be here next meeting anyway,
Yes,
right?
yes. All right, so how about professional services?
Yep.
We're gonna need that.
And then,
What did we have last year for professional services?
you had 50,000
50,000, yes.
Just for legal fees primarily?
primarily,
Yes,
yes.
for all our lawsuits that we're involved in.
Hopefully someday we won't have to
Hopefully,
spend
that'll be able to
50,000.
go.
Hopefully we won't have lawsuits everywhere.
Yeah, but one of them was settled this year, right, wasn't it?
Yeah,
One
but
of
we're
them
still in with,
We're getting more involved with VY than we ever have.
Yeah. Then the only other thing too was we figured out that you already had an emergency reserve fund, Cindy had stated that. And so, I worded this, and again, I do not know if it's correct or not. In the
11.
past, you have taken
what
prior.
number, please?
We're on Article 11, sorry. You have taken, surplus. Shall the voters authorize a total general fund expenditure for the operating expenses of which so much shall be raised by taxes, so much by non-tax revenues, and so much by prior year's surplus? That might have to be changed because you now wanna take that surplus and fund the previously established emergency reserve fund.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
my understanding.
Right.
I do not know if the wording is all correct on these.
Well, they're gonna be vetted through either VLCT or the attorney, so it has to be, cause we can't go to town meeting again, messed up. Let's see,
So you're talking about removing the last little bit of Article 7?
I think so, because
Yeah,
you won't be
that makes
doing
sense.
anything with the prior year
Right.
surplus, you're gonna put into the emergency reserve fund.
Right. What was, we were supposed to
why isn't
get
it
to
called
20?
an emergency reserve fund?
That's
Is
what
that-
it was
it-
already.
Well,
and
that, it would be
spent out of
like,
that?
ever?
What's that?
Is anything spent out of that ever, in an emergency? I don't get it.
That was the recommendation of the outside
No,
auditors.
no, I
to
know
have-
that, but he said a reserve fund, he didn't say anything about emergency reserve fund.
I'd have to go back and look, I thought
Well-
he
I'm
did.
pretty sure it was stated as an emergency.
I-
reserve.
They call them rainy
Really?
day funds or
Right.
emergency reserve fund, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's
Okay.
stated.
Alright,
And we already had one
yes,
established.
yeah, we didn't know that until,
Right, we just
Yeah.
learned that.
okay. So those would, 11 and
7 might need to be changed.
change,
They
okay,
wipe each other out.
yeah, I think they do.
Well, just the
Just the prior year
Just the
surplus.
prior year.
Of
Yep.
7.
Yep, I got that crossed out, okay. And we need another fund in there, I mean, another article to state whether, to see if the townspeople want to go to 3 installments.
Right, I
And
put
then-
that note down.
Then the date would be,
Does it-
and if so, what, the dates or whatever, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I have the if so one, but I don't have the.
October,
January, April.
January, and April, that sounds
But I
like great
brought
ones.
it by the treasurer to make sure that.
Yeah, that sounds great. What?
It used to be
Yes.
September.
Right.
If we go from 2 to 3,
September.
Yeah, so you have to have another article placed just before that.
Yeah, I have that added.
Okay,
I'm just proposing October, January, and April.
I think
Oh,
those are
you're
great.
proposing? Oh.
But, unless there's something I don't know about why those months are
Well-
allowable or doable.
Well, she does that, isn't it October or
She does,
September
it used to be
September?
September and February.
But they
I
didn't wanna
still
do,
is.
right, but they don't wanna do December because of Christmas. So October, January, and April sounds great to me.
It's 3 months apart.
Yep.
I'll ask her, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been waiting for some dates to come back. I
I
know
would
Bradford
ask her
does
that.
4 installments.
So that sounds good, right?
I would
Or
help
does
my cash
anybody
flow
wanna not have it right after Christmas?
by
It's,
January.
it's always gonna be hard, December
is
and
gonna be.
January.
And
It's
I
always
like
gonna be hard,
October.
period, but I don't know, I mean, my original question on that was why, I think it all got brought up because it's not exactly 6 months apart, which was my question, was like, why is it only 5 months
September,
apart instead
February.
of 6? And then it turned into this whole, well, what if we spread it out more for those of us who don't escrow and, whatever, so I'm just, it seems like, I don't know, October,
one right after
January, and
the other.
April doesn't really spread it out a whole lot, which was, I thought, the intent of it. So I'd be more inclined to say like September, January, and May. But I know then there was rules
Oh, that's
on like how
okay
many
too.
days after you set the tax rate and mail the bills, and then,
January and May.
you know, that sort of, so I don't know what the,
Yeah, ask her which ones would be better, that sounds like right.
That sounds better, but
I mean, cause it's gonna come to, people are gonna get one heck of a shock,
oh, right.
trust me.
So, I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, that was, I think, where the whole conversation started,
That's where
was
it
trying to
started.
spread it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
What about mortgage companies, what they prefer? Because they, in my case, hold my escrow for that, and they pay my taxes. Is there any, do you have any idea what they prefer?
I don't think it really is up to them, it's, it
No,
it
they-
really
they
is.
pay
I
the
my
bill when
escrow
it's
this
due.
year anyhow, I mean, my.
Because it's just paid right to
Yeah.
the, from here to the mortgage company, it wouldn't make it matter to them. It's actually up to the people only.
I don't know.
But I think that's a thought, but she sends it right, the bill right to your,
To me, and then I send it to them, yeah.
Right, and they mail a check whenever it's due,
Just
I would
before,
assume.
right,
yes, they do.
yeah. I hope.
I don't think that matters to them.
They better
I don't
be,
know.
right?
Yeah. Okay, we're done with that?
For now, I guess.
For now, right? Okay, let's see. We have specs for the storage room. It's been reported to me that Dale Gassett does wanna put in a bid for this, so we have to write up our own specs.
So, who can we count on? Jeff, I don't know. What?
I'm not doing
I don't know how to actually do them.
Come on up.
I was also asked to ask why you think there's an advantage for a person writing the specs and bidding the job.
Say that again, please. What advantage?
Why do you think that there's an advantage to the person who writes the specs and also bids the job?
I didn't say there was.
Could the specs be
That's what
written
you all-
We
to,
did.
That's what
Prior-
you all
prior-
discussed last time.
with prior knowledge of the specs because you were actively involved in developing them?
Right.
Is there
But-
potential for saying, okay, I think I can get this cheaper than anybody else? The specs are gonna be designed that way.
Everybody sees the same list of materials and the same instructions of what the job is. When it comes to construction, it's not the same as,
Well, I mean, we are, you know, obviously this perception of conflict of interest seems to keep coming up every several months around here, and we're sensitive to that. And,
yeah, I understand that, but I guess I'm just trying to think it through and say, what, I don't see it, neither does Dale, so. It's a list, it's a hard and fast list of materials for a specific job, and it's not, there would be no advantage to anyone. You all have the same market to buy them in, and you could charge the hourly rate you choose to charge in your labor price. There's just not, in this particular subject, there's just not something to have an advantage or a disadvantage of, unless there's something I'm missing,
Yeah, I don't know.
For me, I think it's just the appearance of conflict of interest.
Okay,
And we've had to deal with that ourselves, and I think, I guess I would have to agree with the appearance of.
okay.
Thank you. So one of us has gotta do it, or a couple of us.
The issue is that nobody on this board, with the exception of me, which I'm not writing the specs due to the same exact reason, is, being able to, write the specs to what I sell at my store, versus what somebody can get somewhere else, because there are different distributors, there are different products that you can utilize to do something like this. And
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
But this is generic. This is steel studs and sheetrock. It's not name brand stuff.
yes, but you can spec things name brand.
But I would never
read
spec a name
blueprints
brand.
every day, and architects spec name brand stuff.
Right, but this is not an architect
To give advantage
job.
to their preferred distributors.
If it was an architect job, I'd agree with you, but this is not an architect job. It's a small storage room. You just spec the size of the studs, the sheetrock, that it's fire code, and there's not much to it. It's just, I'm just telling you, there's not much to it at all. If you did name brands, I could see your point, but that's not, this is not an architect's job.
Here's my opinion on the subject.
Okay.
We don't need really to spec out anything. Because that's not what you do when you
I wouldn't,
do an addition or you do a remodel or anything else.
Yeah,
You don't,
because
as the homeowner
how would
or
we
the
know?
business owner, say, here's all the specs for this job.
Right.
Give me a bid on it. You go, I don't know what I'm doing. Spec this job out. This is what the requirements are. This is what I desire as the homeowner. This is what we have to have as a town, the fire rating, XYZ, spec it and price it.
why can't we say that we have a job for a storage room? And we expect it to be done at a certain time, and,
Yeah, and then we need to give them the requirements of the fire ratings of the
Right.
doors and the walls,
Right.
which Kevin should have, I would hope.
I have no idea.
No, all you're
Okay.
saying is it's a 1 hour rated room, that's all.
Okay,
1 hour rated room, okay.
that's all you need. You put it out to bid, everybody does their own specs.
Couldn't Kevin
Everybody-
do that?
Huh?
Couldn't Kevin do that?
Do what?
Write up what the
Yeah, we
size
just-
of the room,
we just
the
need
re-
to- we
the
just need to put it out
requirements
to
of the.
bid.
Where are
Yeah,
you gonna
that's it.
advertise it?
That's it.
Well, I would think that we have a couple places, and the reformer.
Yeah, but you know how much money you're gonna spend?
Let us talk about it, please. And, but maybe, you know, one of us could get with Kevin and
It's really not that hard to get bids, and you really don't have to spend.
no,
any
I'm
money.
not
If-
thinking that
if-
it's hard
if
to
you
get
had-
bids.
If you had Kevin write up an invitation to bid, and it was sent to the major distributors in the area,
Oh, that's an
or
idea.
whomever,
Yep.
I guarantee you their salespeople, because I know mine would take that invitation to bid, and they would hand it out to every single contractor that they know that has the time and ability to do it. And because it's mutually beneficial, they gain a job for their customer, and they gain the sale on their end. I know if my guys got this at my store, they'd be all over it and sending it out to everybody that they know. We don't have to spend any money doing this, but we need to get it out to the places that will distribute it for us, and those are the lumberyards.
Okay. All right. Would one of you be willing to work with Kevin?
To have him write up the.
He's gonna write up an invitation to bid. And then we'll send it out to contractors and you're saying sales, like sales departments, is that what you're
Yeah.
referring to?
Yeah, you could fax it or email it to the sales departments of the major
Of
lumber
them,
distributors in the
yeah.
area, and
I know, but we do have people here in Vernon that are,
So
construction people
see
that
if
we could
Martin would put it on the unofficial website,
sure.
if
and
Brana would put
Brana
it
newspaper.
on our
You get the words to
online.
me, I'll do it.
Yeah, you just put the
Yeah.
invitation a bit out there in the places that don't cost us any money, and I guarantee you get bids back.
Yeah, cause we
Yeah.
don't have to write up what we need, you know, they come and they measure the room and they do what,
Exactly.
yeah, okay.
Kevin meets with them, says, here's the line in the room where the wall's gonna be, and leaves it at that. It needs to be a 1 hour rating.
And it needs to include the electrical stuff component.
Yep, because
Plumbing.
they have to have lights
Plumbing,
and such
right.
in there, and they have to move the plumbing, and, that should be.
All right, does anybody wanna work with him? Or do you want me to?
Yeah,
I don't know what it is that we would need to do.
Well, he's gonna have to have help with, you know, somebody's gotta stand there and tell him these things, what he needs to write in the thing, who's gonna write it up for him? You know, I mean, I'm not saying he can't write it, but he doesn't do that kind of stuff, so I don't know if, you know, somebody needs to be with him and help him and, you
If
know.
it's gonna be a solicitation and not specs, I can write it. Can I not?
I think you could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but,
just an invitation to bid.
It's an invitation
yeah,
to bid.
but
I've
yeah,
never seen one before, so I don't
I
know what
don't,
it's
I haven't
supposed to
either,
say, that's
but
all.
I want it in there that they have to report to Kevin and stuff, and I wanna be able to, or
they
one
have
of
to-
us speak to Kevin about all these things.
Yeah.
Provide
He
liability.
Yeah.
needs to know,
He needs to know what they need to know.
Yeah.
So,
and as far as that goes, when the bids come in, I won't be voting in any way, shape, or form about who
no,
gets that
you'd
particular
have to leave
bid.
the room, actually.
But I can look at the bids and tell you whether somebody knows what they're doing or not.
Okay, sounds great.
But I don't even know if I would share that, honestly.
Yeah, you're
because
probably
I
better
don't
off just
wanna-
staying out of it
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, I
I think
think
I'm,
so.
yeah, I think I agree with that, I would stay out of it completely.
Okay,
Why don't I just talk to Kevin?
huh?
Why don't I talk to Kevin?
No, I'll talk to
If you
him.
want, 'cause I can type it up for him.
Huh?
I can type it up for him.
Well,
Katrina and I can work together.
okay, but I'm going to talk to Kevin
Okay, fine.
with this, I mean, or all three of us.
He just
I
needs to
think
be
that he
aware that
needs to
he's gonna be
that's
fielding
right.
The
phone
point
calls
person.
He
to
needs
set
to
up
be
appointments
involved.
to
Yeah.
look at the space.
Yep,
And he needs to be aware of what's required
yep,
which should be in the invitation to bid anyway.
Yeah.
So what you guys hand to him is gonna give him a wealth of knowledge of what's gonna be there, and he needs to be aware that the phone calls
Yeah.
or emails or
I
whatever.
don't want
coming
him
to
left out, I want him involved, so I'll talk to him and maybe get, so that he can work with you girls or whatever.
And it may not be a bad idea for him to do what was done out here and take a piece of blue tape and put it on the floor, and that way it's done, there's your line, do your thing, let me know.
It's already done.
Alright, so
Is it
that's
inside
a done deal then for now.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I said my memory doesn't work, so.
And we want that sent out, you get it to us for January 4th. Sound good, Katrina?
When does he come back from vacation?
He'll be back by then, I think.
Was he
I
back
got
on
time
the
to do it,
4th?
too.
I don't remember. Was he?
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I
be
can't
in
remember
a
his
huge yank about it
was-
because
He's
you're not
coming
gonna
in
get
next
anybody
week.
here anytime soon
Huh?
to do the work,
No.
so.
I think he's coming back in next week for a couple of days. Matt's working this week, a couple of days, then he can't for a couple next week, so,
The 18th is Martin Luther
isn't that what he
King's
said?
birthday.
Something like that today,
She-
so
they're
I'll
back-
get with
well,
Kevin
if-
first next week.
If Kevin's schedule is the same as Cindy's, they're back in the office next week. And they're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if
Yeah.
it's the same as Cindy's.
Yeah, because Matt can't work those days, so, yeah. All right, I'll get with him then. And then you girls will write that up, and that would be much appreciated. Okay, we need to set another budget date to finalize this baby. Or not. Next Monday? Okay.
Because she's not gonna be here. Now, wait a minute. Let me tattle a bit.
Thank
We had
you.
enough Mondays in a row here.
I know.
Okay, so then let's make it,
When do we have to find, that's not the right calendar, when does it
I
have
hate
to
I've got it
be
right here. What do
finalized?
you wanna know?
No, I want it right there.
I know, but I have.
When does it need to be finalized? Wasn't there
Well,
like
you wanna do an
January 15th or
informational
something?
meeting.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's, huh?
You wanna do an informational meeting?
Yeah, we're not gonna, we gotta finalize it, but then we're gonna have a meeting, a town meeting, a town forum thing, for people can,
Carol wants it January 16th, I think.
Yeah.
Carol.
Hammond,
but we're not
It's a
gonna,
Saturday.
That's a Saturday.
right, 15th.
okay,
But,
15.
yeah, but didn't I hear somebody say that it had to be finalized by the 15th or something?
Well, if it's,
No, are we
Well,
talking
if it's
about
going to
budgets?
Carol Hammond, it has to be finalized.
Yeah.
We can't just,
Right.
yeah, so I'm thinking the 5th, which is a Tuesday evening. Can you make it, Josh? I know that some Tuesdays you can't.
Yeah, it should be fun.
So why don't we do January 5th? Good Lord. So 4th and 5th,
Welcome back.
yeah. Would be a great welcome back, because you will be here on the 5th, so.
As long as there's no weather and we don't get stopped in traffic or anything, yeah.
Listen, Moses parted the water, did he not?
I'm not Moses.
Yeah, well, we'll part that, we'll be all standing right here saying, that's
I'm not
enough.
gonna be your co-pilot.
Yeah, we're gonna block those snow dates, anyway,
6:30.
yes, 6:30. Yep. So January 5th, 6th, okay. All right. Public participation of any agenda items?
We did,
Oh,
You missed one.
complaint
Whoops.
letter?
yeah, complaint letter.
No, I said, that's not,
Oh.
I haven't talked to the sheriff or
Okay.
anybody
So we're
yet.
just tabling
Did we
that.
receive it?
Yes. Seeing none, move on. The only correspondence I have is that I received a notification from my brother, which I will, after this gets onto the agenda that night, it's gonna be one night that Sandy's here, so she can take over the meeting while you discuss this, but my brother has asked me to let you know that he's interested in buying a small parcel up in off the Adbrook Road. He just bought a some acreage up there. And there's a piece, a very small little piece, that Vernon owns up there, and he, wondered if the town would sell it to him. It would be up to the,
$250,000 sounds good.
select board.
Where's Adbrook Road?
He wouldn't bet an eye, I promise.
Where's Adbrook Road?
Thank you for
Ah,
telling us that.
Where is Adbrook Road?
Off of West Road.
Oh.
You know, go way up in there, and it's a bad road up in there. I would give you the things, but I didn't get them from Carol yet, so, but I wonder if we could put that on a future agenda.
Sure.
Okay. So, probably not until after this is over.
Please.
So, we talk in February or March?
I don't know, maybe it's September.
We'll do February.
So like,
February will
That's not
be,
the right year.
I know, but I'm thinking
February
it'd
will be the 1st or the 15th. No, that's incorrect. Yeah, that's correct. First or the 15th.
Yeah, first or 15th. How about the 15th?
Sure.
It's a pretty dull meeting because it's before, you know, we just talk about what we're gonna, who's gonna do what for articles.
You gotta do it before the first round of taxes go out, so we can get them that first time around.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll put that on 2/15, 16, 2/15, 16.
Should we pick a couple of dates for our budget forum?
Yes. I
Cause
wish
there's
we had a-
already 2 scheduled in January at the school, and we're gonna have to get dates to them, requests to them, so.
I was thinking kind of like, you know, February 3rd or February 10th, which is a Wednesday evening, both are Wednesday evenings.
I think the planning commission's one is in early February, not in January.
It is in early February, you just mentioned that.
Yeah.
February 3rd is theirs.
The
Oh,
third.
crap. That's out for us. Okay, so how about,
So we've got January
forget I'm
19th,
on camera.
February 3rd. How much before town meeting do we have to do it?
well, we don't even have to do it. I just want the people
It's just
to,
for,
yeah, so they can ask questions and, you know, get,
it's a pre-town meeting,
yeah. How about the
I read
10th?
somewhere that we had to, anyway.
No, we don't
Okay.
have to. February 10th,
February 10th is a snow date for the planning one, but
we already grabbed it.
Oh.
No. All right. I have no idea then. You guys come up with some ideas, because every time I do, you're cutting it down.
What if we have a regularly scheduled select board meeting on, I have it on the 8th.
1st and the
Yes.
15th.
Rec board meet, that says rec board, never mind, sorry. What if we did a regular scheduled meeting on February 15th? We just did it then.
That'd be a long thing.
No, we just don't, just do that, that'd be the only,
She's talking about not having a regular select board meeting and doing the informational, is that what you're talking about, right?
yeah.
Why not do it the following, week instead of, and have a regular board meeting on the regular board meeting time? And have a, like it would be the 22nd of February, which is a
That
Monday.
is 1 week before your town meeting, right?
Cause we could, yeah, but we could have, well, then they'd be fresh in their mind, right? Or do you think that's too soon?
I think that's too close.
I do too, yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
down south, but
Oh, yes, and it's school vacation.
Oh, geez, crows.
I don't know when's,
All right, then let's go back into January and do it, like the 25th of January. That's a Monday, right, Katrina?
Yep.
Is everybody gonna be around?
when is, what?
It's the 25th of January. And then we could do it right here, and if we get a good crowd, we could move out into the big room. Actually, we could have it over there. I'd rather have it over the
I think
school.
we need to have it
Yeah.
over there.
Never mind.
Tell me again why we're doing this.
It's just a budget informational meeting for the townspeople, so that we don't have to go through it so deeply at town meeting. And they'll be kind of informed and they can make up their mind what they wanna do when it gets to them on town meeting.
I thought I read somewhere that we had to do it, no?
No,
No, it's not statutory, okay.
no. I promise, it's not statutory. Really?
Okay. So what do we have? We have something on the 19th. We have something on the 3rd, and the snow date was the 10th.
If you'd rather not do it, we don't have to. We didn't do it last year, I don't think.
Yes.
We did?
Yes.
We did it the year before.
I thought there were 2 last year, actually.
Yeah, and,
This is school.
Oh, those
no,
are
the school
okay.
does theirs. I
I'm
think we
okay
had
with
it
not
last
doing
year,
it,
year
but-
before, and none before that, so.
I'm okay with not doing it because I understand why.
Uh-huh.
I think what in reality would happen is that you would end up having the same amount of questions at town meeting anyway, because you're not gonna get as many people to come as you might think for a trial run through.
Yeah, you know.
And you're still gonna be dealing with questions, maybe you curb, 2 or 3 questions to, but I don't think it's gonna be as effective of what you're trying to do. If there's another reason outside of that, sure, but I don't think you're gonna curb anything very much by having an extra one.
It's not to curb anything, it's just it's an informational type of thing.
Sure.
So that they have it in their mind.
Yeah.
I don't wanna convince anybody of anything. After we've let go of it, it's up to the townspeople, and I hope that they do what they want to do with what they wanna do.
Oh, sure, that's exactly what's gonna
But I
happen.
mean, it's supposed to be an informational meeting about budget so that somebody doesn't show up at town meeting, like,
Like, yeah,
I mean,
like,
if it
duh,
would
why are you
curb some
doing this?
questions, it
Yeah.
might be worth it, but.
You're gonna get people at town meeting who have those same questions who didn't come to the
Sure,
informational, so.
That's kinda what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I can remember the first year I was select board member, we did one, this was the first one. And when it got to town meeting, someone stood up, cause people were starting to ask questions, and someone stood up and said, well, they had an informational meeting, you could've showed up to that and asked your questions. Which is true, but I think you are right, you're gonna get the same questions, no
Yeah.
matter what you do.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's the case, but, I'm not against doing it, I just don't really see the benefit in doing it, cause I think you're gonna have, it's gonna be the same discussion one way or the other. You're gonna have the same discussion 2 nights or 3 nights instead of 2 nights.
Okay, do you want to, do you want me to talk with Janet and Martin, and maybe after we've done this, have them do a slide presentation or not?
If they would be willing.
If they would be willing?
I think that's very important, actually.
I think
Yeah.
it's best that they see it up here.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too, I like it. So, all right, I'll ask with Martin and Janet. Well, Janet left, I was gonna ask her to stop by in the morning. Okay, Martin and Janet, all right. Okay, and then
So did we decide not to do an informational budget?
we're not gonna do
Okay.
it. It was pretty much a consensus, maybe one question, right? Yeah, okay. All right, future agenda items, we've already discussed that. Unless the camera person wants to ask the question, I am open for the question.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion's made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
you all for tonight. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh.